Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Grab Matters podcast. Today we welcome on a very special guest, Bobby Sutherland. Bobby Sutherland is the commissioner of the Professional Wakeskate League. Talk with him about his early days growing up, what it's like to build a cable in your backyard and some of the problems that are involved with it, what he currently does for work and how that kind of translates to starting up the PWL, how he got the idea for the PWL. Talk about that and a bunch of other stuff with Bobby. Really great chat with him. Hope you guys enjoy.
I approve waterboarding. They're talking about wakeboarding. The thing about wakeboarding, every trick is an invert.
Backside.
One air railing.
A new dimension.
All right, we're back. Another episode of the Grab Matters podcast. Today we welcome on a very special guest, Bobby Sutherland. Bobby, how's it going?
Oh, it's going well. Welcome to your least viewed podcast.
See, everybody always says that, man, no one wants to hear what I have to say. No one wants, and then people want to hear what you have to say. They say it's the best episode they've seen, so.
Hey, well, if they're smart, they'll listen because we got some juice to talk about.
Bobby's going to get into it. Bobby's excited, and I'm fired up for it. So let's start off with I got three easy questions for you.
Yeah.
One, wake pants, yes or no?
So this one, I'm going to say yes, but let's get right into it.
What are you waiting for?
Dude,
I'm not waiting for
So I
it.
recently found out I'm banned or blocked from Wake Nation Cincinnati. That's where this whole thing comes from,
On
right?
Instagram?
Like, yeah.
It may or may not come from, I don't know.
You're trying to not get blocked.
I'm
and
trying not
banned.
to get sued is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So that's where this whole wake pants thing. Yeah. I mean, I've rocked them for sure. But I'm a sports guy. Like, we don't talk about uniforms really in other sports. So I'm kind of questioning you why you ask everybody so much.
Well, it's an interesting question because I think the kit matters. So I think what you wear matters.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say in team sports, there's a lot of like unique kits out like now, like whether it's city themed or like
A throwback kit.
Yeah, throwback. So kits matter, but it's like each teach their own. But I have definitely rocked some wake pants, maybe
Attaboy.
Space Mob themed.
Okay, I like it.
You guys are good influencers, eh?
They're very good influencers. So I don't know if this one really applies to you, but favorite grab?
Yeah, I was actually talking about this with Quinn. So for me to do, I would say nose.
And we're talking on a wake skate?
On a
or
wake skate. On a wake skate.
Okay, that's what I was asking, yeah.
To watch, I'm going to stick with wake skating. Grabs aren't really, it's kind of.
You could say grabs don't matter on a wake skate.
Depends on the trick, I guess, but because like some tricks are harder with a grab or without a grab, like 360s and spins and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like the crail. Like Cross does this front board crail. I think he's tried some shove outs, like finger shove outs. I know some people have done that, but like, I don't know, Cross is so like long and lanky. Like, man, his crails are so sick because he barely has to bend over. For me to do that is like I'm out for 3 weeks after.
Yeah, dude, it's not happening. I got to hit a couple of yoga classes before I start doing stuff like that. But
For sure.
Okay,
yeah.
so crail is up there.
Yeah, nose for me personally to do.
Oh, this is a good one. I don't think anyone said nose yet. So I like that. All right. And then another easy question. Should wake skaters' prize purses be the same as wakeboarders' prize purses?
He says an easy one.
Yep.
I mean, we got to dive into this one.
I mean, let's most of the podcasts start with the early days. I think we should start with, lay into it. What do you think?
It's not an easy answer.
Good thing we got a podcast. You can talk about it.
You want to go into this right now?
Yeah, I'm not putting to a yes or no. I mean, I'm curious your thoughts because as the commish of the PWL, as we'll get into later, but I'm curious your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's without getting like too political, let's back up and go women's equal pay. Professionally, whether it's, in the workforce or in the wakeboard world, of course, women should be paid equal. I think that goes without saying. Now, wake skating, the evil redheaded stepchild, I feel, without getting too political, that you could say every argument for women getting equal pay, you could say the same exact thing for wake skating. Now, does that mean that we deserve it? I don't know. It's tough. The meaning of definition of deserve is really depends on who you are. If you're the commissioner trying to sell sponsorships, yeah, you want your riders to be successful. Like for me, wake skating, yeah, I want these guys to be able to wake skate every day of their life and to do that and make a living and be able to pay their bills and, everything else. Of course, that's the end goal for every guy, I think, that wants to be a pro. Are they putting in the same amount of work as the pro riders that are going to the gym or the pro wakeboarders that are going to the gym and doing all that? Yeah, like guys like Trav, that dude is working his ass off. There's plenty of guys that are out there doing what it takes to be a professional athlete. So deserve is tough. Now you look at the market share. Back to the women, there's probably one pro model women's board to 8 or 9 for every major company, I would say. Not really.
Probably a fair estimate, yeah.
Not really a wakeboard guy anymore, but so the market share is obviously different. Let's just call it, for even numbers, 1 to 9. Wake skating is even less than that. The major companies aren't pressing our boards anymore. A couple of them are. Ronix, I think, has got a couple. There's a couple like entry-level boards out there from some of the major brands. But, we definitely hold a very small part of the market share. So as a guy that's selling sponsorships, if you're hosting like for instance, a full-size cable contest, there's probably going to be, 5 wake skaters if you're lucky. So do they deserve equal pay? It's as a contest organizer, man, that is tough to say they do. But they're putting in just as much work, and they just identify as a wake skater. So it's tough. But the other side of that coin is, if you are giving equal pay, then you got guys like Window, Dana Grant's different. Some of the wakeboarders that cross over, when that money is available, they go cross over because
why not?
They want the money,
Yeah.
So there's no good answer.
Okay.
I think it would be nice to see the margin smaller, but man, something's got to change somewhere. It's a tough one, but there's just no good answer, man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could play devil's advocate, and you already brought up kind of some of the points that I'm sure a lot of people are thinking about right now. But one of which is like the participation base. Like, so, the wakeboarders that are entering the contest are, let's say there's 100 wakeboarders entering the contest, and you said there's, 10 wake skaters. So a lot of people would say, well, why would the wake skaters, they should get 10% of what the purse is, right? Because they represent 10% of the, equation. But it's not usually as simple as that. And I think a lot of people use that to do men and women's pay as well. They go, well, they're a smaller percentage, so they get a smaller percentage of the pay. So I think the solution lies somewhere within the middle of that, and that's just my opinion. Because no, they shouldn't make less than guys, or wake skaters shouldn't make less than wakeboarders. Just talking about it, kind of shooting the shit. But should they make as much? I don't know, but they should make more, because if they make more, then it incentivizes people to actually do it, and that's like a huge part of getting people in the sport, is like an incentivize. The kids to actually see that as a possible dream that they can fulfill when they get older. So that's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer either.
Yeah, it's tough. And to back up too, like, I just feel like, if, this came up obviously on social media not that long ago, and I jumped in and said some things, but like, of course, if people are going to put out there, like, do wake skaters deserve the same pay? As a guy who represents wake skating, I'm going to say, yeah, like I got some smack from some of my homies, but it's like, you're killing sponsors, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I got to stick up for wakeskating, like, I feel like every argument that you can make for, not to take anything away from the women. Like, I'm a huge proponent of women wakeboarding, and we'll get into that later. But, I feel like every argument you can make for them, you can make for us. They put in as much work. They're marketing just as hard. We don't share the same market. It's tough. It's a tough world out there.
Do you think if wake skating embraced wakeboarding a little bit more, that would make it a little bit easier for some of the wakeboarders to...
All right, Wes.
Hey, I'm being real.
This is another one that's touchy, because we're small. There's so many different aspects to have fun on your wake skate or on your board of any kind, whether it's winch, cable, boat. A lot of the guys that ride in the PWL aren't really fond of full-size cables, period. That's not really core to them, I guess you could say.
I guess why would you say that is? Because I don't I
think it's just the skateboard background, I guess. Like, they want to go to the park to practice to do stuff in the streets. And, our 2-tower contests are, drops, which are very similar to like Street League or, rail hits and stuff like that. And so I think just trying to stay core to the sport that we want to represent, which is skateboarding, I think that's just kind of how that comes out.
It's interesting that the core wants to represent a sport that isn't their sport.
I mean, I think wakeboarding, wakeskating, we were birthed from other sports, so you have to, as this is a one that's going to come back on me, but like, you have to, help the hand that feeds you, which wakeskating kind of aborted at one time. And we saw what happened. Wakeskating almost died, but you can't kill disco. You can't kill wakeskating. People are still going to do it.
Okay, so that is a good point. And I think that anyone who talks about the state of water sports as a whole, the industry, people participation, all that shit, at the end of the day, you're not going to kill any of these activities because they are naturally fun to do. Wakeskating is fun. Yeah. Wakeboarding is fun.
It's a toy, right?
It's a toy, dude. Like, you can drastically alter the direction of which it goes, but you're not going to kill it. It's not going to die.
No, I mean, for guys like you and I, scrub wakeboarders and wakeskaters, this sport has changed our life. I mean, it's changed the way I talk, the way I dress, the way I act, probably the way I walk a little bit. A little swagger. It's more than just a sport. It's more than just a toy. But it's a passion and it's a way of life. So it's not going to die. People are always going to be passionate about it, but there are certain things to our sport that make it progress, and contests are part of that. Hate is a part of that too. It just takes a lot to progress a sport, and we're so small right now. It's just hard to encompass everything. Cable, full-size boat, it's hard to do. We tried to do a boat contest. We tried to do a full-size cable contest, and it's just hard to get. Without money, man, it's hard to draw anybody.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we're into this, so we might as well just keep kind of going into it. But do you think that naturally, like, cables contests, especially wake skate, aren't really shown well on a full-size cable in the sense that it doesn't really lead to a great, like, viewer experience or even rider experience, I would say. Have you experienced that, doing some of the PWL events? I know it's mostly two-tower or all two-tower.
Yeah, it's all two-tower. You're saying does wake skating doesn't do well on a full-size because it doesn't look well, I guess you're saying? Or
yeah,
well?
Maybe it doesn't translate the best to a full-size rather than
honestly, I feel like wakeboarding contests are tough on the full-size for crowds, too.
I would agree, yeah.
Until we got Ian. Ian's the man.
Ian kills it, dude.
He changes the game. I don't know. I mean, I think that, I've been a wake skater. I switched to the wake skate when I was like 13, and like my dad would have people down to our like family lake house and be like, "Can you get your wakeboard out and do a back roll?" And I'd be like, "Dad, I don't have a wakeboard anymore." And he's like, "You can use mine." I'm like, "Dad, you don't have like." He's got like the the $300 package board with like no foam. I'm like, I want to break my ankle, but I'd still go out there and do it, and have fun because people want to see a back roll. They want to see people go upside down. So like, to somebody that doesn't know what wake skating is, maybe it's not as showy, but once you get into it, like I think every wakeboarder would say that wake skating's hard.
I don't know.
They have a lot of respect for it.
As they should, because I think wake skating is possibly one of the hardest sports in the world.
Thanks, bud.
I don't know if there's like an argument that you can be had because skating's super hard, but it's so accessible and so easy to get so many repetitions.
That's true.
Wake skating is like really hard to get repetitions.
Yeah. Like
if you don't have your own two-tower system in your backyard, like Reed Hansen, like it's really hard to get repetitions. Yeah. Or you. That's probably who you thought I was going to talk about.
Yeah, like, hey, that's fired. Yeah, it's definitely tough, but also interesting because like wake skating is the cheapest way to get into towed water sports, and yet we see people wake surfing that could be really good at wake skating, like really good.
Yeah, and wake skating doesn't have that like. I mean, yes, wake skating can hurt. You can hit the board. You still have an early slam, but it's not the wakeboarding where you're going, wake to wake really fast and you're strapped in. So you're not going to have like the whiplash face plants as much as you would. But you disagree?
I mean, have you heard about Travis fall?
There's a lot of falls. I'm just saying in general.
I don't know. Get tossed like a rag doll is pretty brutal, man. Like, you got to give it to the boat guys, like the wake skate boat guys. Like, I mean, they both are hard. I can't say that one is. Once they went to like closed-toed bindings and like ratcheting yourself in, like those falls suck. Yeah, I mean, that's why I kind of started wake skating. It's like I can learn to fall, to my back. You learn to fall smart like a skateboard. But yeah, I don't know.
It is.
I don't know. I would say I've seen rough falls on both. Like you can still catch a hard edge on a wake skate.
That's true. Yeah, and you can hit the skate. People forget about that.
Yeah, I mean, pros aren't really hitting their skate, but I am.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm not a pro out there.
I was just talking to somebody about that today too. It's like, pros don't have to worry about hitting their head, but I do. Anything can go wrong when I'm out there.
That's a good point. Okay, so that was a good way to start that off. I mean, we'll dive into some of those topics a little bit later here, but I do want to touch on, the early days of Bobby Sutherland.
Little Bobby wakeboarder.
Little Bobby back roll out there.
Yeah. Hey, how'd you know? Find some clips.
So where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I'm from St. Louis, born, raised, and kind of stuck, I guess, a little bit. My parents have a family cabin down in St. Genevieve, which is like an hour south. It's kind of a blessing. It's like a small cabin community. It's a gated community, but it's super redneck. So it sounds very like richy or fancy, but man, there are some. We call them Hoosiers. I forget. Like I say that so. Hoosiers is not a term of endearment in Missouri. It's like you're a redneck. But in Indiana, it's like a compliment.
I was going to say, that's like their logo or their whatever you call it.
It's real strange. But it's pretty Hoosier down there. But my parents got it before they were married. They got a loan from my grandma. And my dad got addicted to water skiing from his dad. And they just wanted to have a place to enjoy themselves on the water before they even thought about having kids.
Okay, so this is on the water, though? This cabin is located?
Yeah, the only one on the water on this like 75-acre lake. And everybody else is just like kind of out in the sticks, and they get rides to the lake. But we're the only ones that are like on the water, but no dock, so we have to like beach our boat and stuff.
So it's a private lake, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, dude.
Wow. Okay. So when did you get first get into water sports?
We've tried to like break this down, but I think I got up on skis when I was like 6. I have an older sister, and so I was always like chasing her. But I think it was like 6 or 7. I got up on the same wooden pair of skis that my dad learned on, which is kind of cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then I was a kneeboard king forever. Loved riding backwards. Yeah.
Switch, I think some call that.
I guess. And then, weird to say, the wakeboarding was invented when I was like 12, maybe, I think, 11, 12. And the first thing we had was called this Conley stick. Shout out Kirby Leisman. He just found one for me recently. It's a unidirectional board that CWB made or Conley made, whatever, and it had a freaking surfboard fin on it, like this big. It was directional, obviously, and it was set up goofy. And so that's what we learned to get up on. Took a bunch of tries, but got up on this thing and didn't know how to change the bindings, so we just learned how to get up goofy.
Okay.
But I also wasn't really into board sports, so I don't think I really knew what goofy or regular was.
You weren't really thinking about it at the time. It was just, this is how this is set up. This is how you do it.
Look at this cool surfboard. Let's put it on. Get in the water. Maybe we were the rednecks. I'm not sure.
You're the Hoosiers down there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a perfect time to get into a Patreon question from none other than WMJ, Wes and Mark Jacobson. If you guys do want to join that Patreon, Bobby's on there. We got a bunch of people on there asking questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can see the guests out early. You can go ahead and ask some questions. We got a little bit more exclusive content on there as well, so go ahead and join that if you're interested. Wes is wondering, in this stance talk, are you goofy or regular? Because I know you're going to say goofy, but it's real confusing watching you do switch 3 shoves. Explain yourself, Bob.
Man. Shout out, Wes. What's up?
Yeah, shout out, Wes.
Wes, Cena, Zeph. I just got to see them, had breakfast, lunch with them yesterday. The fam's looking good.
Love to hear that.
Man. So yeah, this board is the reason, man. So I got up on this thing, and then next we got the Evil Twin, and so I just kept riding goofy. And so I do everything else left foot forward on the shore. A razor left foot forward.
You what left foot forward?
I was making a scooter joke.
Oh, razor scooter. Okay.
No, I skateboard left foot forward. Like I don't really skateboard, I longboard, I guess. I snowboard left foot forward. I can do a lot of stuff goofy now just because I'm ridiculous. But I surf left foot forward, wake surf left foot forward.
Okay.
And I wakeboarded behind the boat right foot forward, and so every like wake style trick I would do goofy. And then once I started wake skating, it just felt right to shove it left foot forward. So I started doing shoves left foot forward. Shout out Pops for turning the boat around a bajillion times on that old cassette deck. Finally got it though, and then next step was a 3 shove, so I started doing 3 shoves that way. And then once I started figuring out what wake skating was, I was like, oh man, I'm all messed up.
Sounds like it.
So I have a hard time figuring out like how to do certain tricks sometimes. And even I'll call tricks wrong because I'll be like, oh, that guy's doing what would be a backside board slide right foot forward, and then he'll like front shove out, and I'm like, wait, is that a front shove or a back shove? Because it's like,
yeah, I get it confused.
Yeah.
So okay.
Dyslexic.
So if you go to front board or rail, what are you doing? Left foot forward or right foot forward?
Right foot forward.
Okay. And if you're spinning out like a shove out of a rail, would you prefer to do that right foot forward or left foot forward?
Yeah, so I'd like prefer like a goofy footed backboard with, let's call it a clockwise shove.
Okay.
Out.
I love that. Clockwise shove out. Okay.
So like, and it's kind of, and TJ actually brought this up. He said, TJ Geese said that you like to do a lot of things just clockwise, which is kind of interesting too, because I do like left foot forward front threes, but I do like to spin very comfortably clockwise.
That's interesting because I think
weird.
In wakeboarding, like I have a much easier time spinning to the left, which is like switch front side.
You're regular?
I'm goofy.
Oh, okay.
So like
Weird.
Switch front side 360, super easy.
Yeah,
like backside spin, super easy. But the other way isn't just as comfortable for me for some reason. I don't know why. But I never really thought about it in wake skating in the sense of you're spinning the actual board underneath yourself. So
yeah, it's weird because like, you know, I was doing, or I did nose 180s behind the boat on the wake skate, and I would do that right foot forward, and I would try threes. I never landed one, but on the wakeboard, I would do heel side, front side threes. So when I went to the cable, I started doing heel side, front side threes goofy, and then at Valdosta, I started doing them switch off the kicker, nose grab, and I was like, dang, this is pretty fun. I don't know what I am. I don't know.
okay.
I can't call, like, I would not say it's a switch three shove though, to clarify. Like if I go out and do a left foot forward three shove, to me that is the easiest. I can't do a right foot forward three shove. So you have to judge me very specifically.
You need your own division,
Yeah.
Bobby. The Bobby division. Commish.
The dropped as a baby division.
All right. Okay. So talking about contests, you sandbagged in your first toe jam event, was it? Or one of the first, your first toe jam event, I think, right?
I sandbagged.
That's what I heard.
From who?
From yourself, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't say I sandbagged.
You could go ahead and take a sip because what exactly set the scene for that toe jam event? And
So
what
this was
happened?
my 21st birthday in, I think, 2008 or something. This must have been from a Wakeskate podcast or something. But yeah, so I go down there, go to the projects, like big into wakeskate nerd. I go do this Byerly toe jam thing, see what it's all about. I was like, Dad, will you enter me in the contest? There's no way I'm going to do well in this thing, you know? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, he'd been taking me to contests my whole life, doing INT and stuff. And so I go down there and I entered. It was a rail jam towed behind the jet ski, or this, I guess this contest was. And so nobody knew who I was. So I get ready to take off the dock, and this is like April, by the way. I guess 420 for Byerly's birthday, and so I hadn't ridden at all. Like that's early season for us, you know.
Yeah.
And so so it's behind the jet ski, which I rode a lot behind the jet ski at home. And right before I left, BT was there announcing, and he's like, "Hey man, you goofy or regular?" And I was like, "Goofy," you know, just didn't think about it. Goofy, been wakeboarding forever. Goofy, you know, whatever. And so I go out, and on the jet ski, I pretty much ride regular because I'm doing a lot of shove tricks on the lip and whatnot. And so the jet ski takes off, and I'm just warming up, like doing a bunch of lip tricks. I haven't ridden at all, you know, I'm just doing whatever. And so BT gets on the mic, dude, and he's like, "I'm pretty sure this guy just lied to me and told me he's goofy just so he could get extra points or something." I can't remember exactly what he said, you know. And BT and I are good friends now, and so like, I think we've laughed about it since then. But like, he called me out on the mic, dude. And I didn't know this till like watching the clips back later. I can like watching me fall.
I was gonna say you probably couldn't hear.
Yeah, and I'm like watching it back. And I'm like, oh my god, dude, I'm like shunned forever. I ended up like going out and falling on my first 2 rail hits anyway.
Didn't matter anyways.
Yeah, got dead last.
That's karma for lying about your stance, Bobby, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, man. It was so funny.
Okay, so other than wake skating and wakeboarding, kind of when you're growing up, is there any other sports you're into?
Oh man, I wouldn't say I was like a team sport guy. I played baseball, soccer growing up a bit, but I definitely didn't make any teams in high school. I tried out for soccer and I got shin splints, couldn't even like walk up the stairs to my bed. So I was like, screw this shit. But I was a big fan of NFL football. My dad took me to my first Rams game when they came to St. Louis in like '95, and we were diehards, man. They were there for 21 seasons.
Wow, I'm really sorry to hear that then, because they did up and leave. So
yeah, there's more to that we'll get into too. But yeah, they were here for 21 seasons. I missed 2 home games, dude. Like we were diehards.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
Legit.
diehards. And I ended up I was working there towards the end of their time in St. Louis at the Dome, and I work in video production, and so I got to see like behind the scenes them leaving, and if you're not into sports, like it was very dirty. Like they put a bad coach out there on purpose. They were losing just to like piss off fans. Like we ended up suing the city, ended up suing the NFL and won a bunch of money. So it was pretty dirty, man. It really killed my vibe with the NFL. Like I haven't watched a single football game since. Like it was slimy.
Wow. I
Real
mean, I'm not
slimy.
surprised, like,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that there was some ins and outs to it.
Yeah,
as,
it was
as an
funny.
outsider.
My I don't know if you I know you probably know who Kroenke is, but he's like he used to own the Rams, and he's kind of the reason why they left. And my old boss, they had their suite next to our video production booth. And my boss would always joke like, "I'm gonna go in there and teabag all his fruit." Like, damn, dude, you're gonna get us fired. Can't even say that shit. But yeah, but man, it was cool to like, so I went to games with my dad, and then I started working there right before I turned 21. So I never got to like drink at the game with my dad, but working there was so surreal for me because I was a fan, and then I got to sit up in the booth, and it was super cool.
Yeah.
Being a Rams fan.
That's super sick. So I want to get into the work side of things and how you got into that in a little bit. But when you're growing up, so you have this kind of private lake house in the gated community, which must be nice to grow up with, Bobby. Who did you ride with? I mean, was it just your family that you're riding with, like your sister and your parents, or what's that look like?
Yeah, I had some high school friends that would come down. There was only like a couple buddies that were like really into it, like I was, because I was competing in INT. Like I wasn't good, I was like intermediate, but it was just fun to go and meet other people that cared about wakeboarding, and I would announce those events, so I got to meet all the people. And there were some families that kind of took us under their wing when we first started an INT, and it was cool just to see that happen. But yeah, I had some friends that would go down there and we'd ride, but I was kind of always the best of the group, and I was doing like a back roll and a 360 in high school and never really like progressed past that. So I had like one friend that was just kind of good at everything, and he couldn't do a wake to wake, but he could do a back roll. And so
He's that guy.
Yeah, he's that guy.
Okay.
And I remember he landed it, and I like jumped out of the boat and almost crashed the boat because like I was so stoked that somebody landed a back roll. My dad's like, the boat. But yeah, it was pretty much just family and friends, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. So not like a homie crew you had that was going out all the time.
Yeah, no filming, no like. I mean, I was like practicing my INT runs, like writing them on my hand and stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing crazy.
Okay. Do you have any favorite movies, wake specific movies growing up? Are you watching any?
Oh man, that's tough. VHSs.
Could be.
Do you know what that is?
I know what it is. I'm not a kid.
Man, there's a lot. 12 Honkies, Metronome
Okay.
spoke pretty loudly to me. Keith Lyman's part in there was, I met Keith Lyman at a boat show. I worked at a boat dealer, pro shop guy, one of those deals. Keith Lyman came in with his spiky hair and that nuclear tantrum he did. Pretty sick. Spoke to me.
Okay.
And of course, I think Grubb was in there and some other wake skaters, but wake skating, I would say like Astric was pretty big. I think they went out to like somewhere near Vegas and built a bunch of rails and stuff with a bunch of the Hyperlight guys and cassette guys. Man, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
There's some good ones right there.
Yeah.
I mean, any favorite riders? You named a couple there, but anyone that you really looked up to back then?
Yeah, for sure. I was a Byerly rider. We were a Hyperlight dealer. So shout out Jeremy Baker, by the way. Do you know Baker?
No.
Oh, you're missing out. Jeremy Baker is the Hyperlight. I think he actually just got promoted, but he was the Hyperlight dealer in our area. And man, that guy worked his butt off, man. And shout out to him. He's definitely made it, made wakeboarding fun for a lot of people and made some people's careers just happen. But he would come out and he would always, show me the latest wake skates, of course. And so I rode Byerly's forever. I wrapped so much around. I forget your question now.
Just guys you looked up to. I mean,
So Grubb. I looked up to Grubb a lot. He was probably my favorite rider. He came out and did a demo with us once and rode behind our boat on the river, and he did some super cool stuff. But like, I remember him like falling and getting back up, and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool!" Like, he just fell on his back and stood back up. Like, I got to figure out. How to do that.
When he was riding. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like never fell. Like went all the way down, and like I'd never seen that in person. Because like when you see videos, you don't see the falls, right? So
Sure,
seeing
they're
him
not
do
putting
that,
that in, yeah.
seeing him do that in person, I was like, oh, I got to figure out how to recover like that, And poor guy, like I was the only wake skater on the boat. He had to do a bunch of wakeboard lessons, which I'm sure happened to him all the time. But yeah, I looked up to him a lot. Thomas Sorrell, Danny Hampson. He's got a kind of a weird, goofy, regular situation going on too, kind of the opposite of what I got, but he's a lot freaking better. So I looked up to that. Met him and Aaron Reed out at pretty much any of the guys that I met. You know, it's like, you know, even working in like the sports world, it wasn't getting these autographs. It was like actually getting to hang out with these guys and like seeing who they were as people was what meant more to me, I think, you know.
Talk to them.
Yeah.
That
Hanging
makes
out
sense.
with them, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that goes to show the importance of, you know, meeting someone once, like we were talking about before the podcast, is meaningless or, you know, priceless for someone, and could be meaningless for the guy who meets you, but like it means the world, you know what I mean?
I'll dive into that because we said it off cameras. I was giving Hunter props about this podcast because like I'm connected to every single guest, whether it's been somebody like Mike Olson, who I spent a ton of time at his cable. He sold me my cable. Or Ollie Jerome. I had a shot with him at a bro stock, like real quick. But it's those little bitty moments that, you know, were forgettable for Ollie, but was a big moment for me as a, you know, young enthusiast rider. And it's just kind of a reminder to the riders out there. And I think Dylan spoke about this with the life jacket situation. You know, like there's a lot of people that look up to these guys.
Yeah.
And so whether you're rocking helmets or not, or, you know, talking this way or that way, like people are always watching and they're going to remember those things. And whether it's a kid or a parent, like you kind of always got to be on your A game, but, you know, just be true to yourself. Just be a real human, you know?
100%.
Don't be a dick.
Unless you have to be, but yeah, don't be a dick. Okay. I think, actually, I do want to touch on what did you guys have growing up? Did you run through a couple or?
Tyga.
Tyga.
Yeah. Can I talk some shit?
Sure. What kind of podcast do you think this is? Of course.
Man, Tyga got us, dude, with the tap system. They had like a tap system that like, was supposed to be a wake enhancing device.
Okay.
And when it was on wakeboard setting, it was doing nothing. It was like out of the water. It's just a marketing scheme that got us.
Well, that's what they're there for. They want to get you.
It was a good boat though. We were good friends with the dealer, but now my parents have an Axis.
Okay.
They just got a newer Axis, and surf gates and stuff are game changers, man. Like I hardly get down there to ride with them, but you know, I foil a little bit now and get to do that down there. And I almost wish I got to ride more because these boats are so nice, and I'm lucky to have one because they're so damn expensive. But
Yeah.
it's a crazy game, but you know, foiling's fun, wake surfing's fun, and so it's good to, you know, I took all the wake skaters down there one time after the PWL, and it's nice just to change the game up and just get out there and have fun with the boys.
Yeah, relax, have a good time, smile, drink some bush lattes. You know what? I think we should jump into the LF and Wheeler questions, which is presented by Liquid Force.
Hey.
The LF and Wheel of questions.
Okay, let's go.
Hey.
So we got a bunch of...
Can we bring this down?
Yeah,
or-
you go ahead and grab that sucker. Bring it down here. So we got a bunch of different... some of them are questions. Some of them are things you have to do. I guess, you know, we can run through them all here. So we got...
Should I give it like a practice swing, see how much like
do a
resistance it has?
do a practice swing.
Okay.
It's
okay.
good. It's
I see
pretty
where
good.
you're at going.
You know, it took me a while to install this sticker on there.
This one?
So no, this one because I had the bolt.
Okay, yeah.
We got. Let's see what we got here. Wakeskate trivia, St. Louis trivia. That's where you're from. Chug a glass of milk, chug a beer, and then there's chug a beer, but that one's in all caps.
Oh.
Worst trend in wakeboarding, hottest wake take, greatest of all time, and then steal a trick and make a movie. And if we land on one of those, I'll explain it a little bit more. But go ahead and give this sucker a spin.
I'm not looking forward to any of these. Like they're all gonna take a while.
That's-
Whether it's chug a beer or hottest wake take. All right, here we go.
Oh, that was a good spin.
Nervous.
Oh
Chug a
my
beer.
God. Fuck.
Well, you can pour it in a glass if you want, though. I think
Can I just chug the rest of this?
you know what, Bobby. That's if you want to be that guy.
I'm gonna be that guy because I gotta drive.
Okay, that's fair. Or you
And this goes out to Ralphie because Ralphie tried to get me to fucking beer bong so many beers at Yardsale and PWL, and I refused every time.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's-
I don't
that's-
chug. If I had to chug a full beer, I'd probably be yakking all over your studio.
See, okay,
so
you want. Some people are just not built for it.
just not built for it. My
All right.
sister now, she can handle it.
Okay, get her on the pod, chugging some beers. All right, well here goes Bobby
Here
finishing
goes
his.
nothing. Here goes to not puking.
Yeah. I was gonna say I was gonna time it, but if we're doing, okay, that was good. That was pretty solid.
Thanks, dude.
I mean, we're not breaking any records here, but that wasn't, you know, you really buried the lead on that one with how long that was going to take you to finish.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's good.
Okay,
That's good. I thought we were gonna be sitting here for 5 minutes. I was gonna have to fill the air with.
It's Bud Light. It's from St. Louis. So I got to represent, I guess.
That's why I got it.
Hey,
There you go. All right. Well, you can go ahead and put that wheel back. Thanks.
damn,
to
the
Liquid
one I
Force for that
didn't
segment.
want. I
Well-
guess that's better than giving some hot take or something, you know.
Well, I mean, we can start off with hot takes. We're gonna get into plenty more.
Yeah,
after.
true.
All right. Let's talk.
I gotta raise this chair real quick.
Yeah.
I feel like I got I
She's
feel
a
like
little short.
Ollie Jerome right now. Thanks for taking the booster seat off. Get in the car.
Well, the funny thing is, dude, I have that chair is like one of the family's chairs. It was here. It's a really nice one. And then this chair I got off Amazon for like $29.
Hey.
It's bad. Like it's
it
like
sucks.
people. I edit these back, and I'm always like adjusting,
Yeah.
and I notice myself doing that. It goes pop. Sometimes it
Well,
pops.
piece of advice: you should never give interviewees or a swivel chair because they'll just do this the whole time.
See, that's why I kind of got you locked in that little
Yeah,
spot
very
there.
locked in
So,
here. Get skinny. Yeah.
No, thankfully, I don't think I've run into that problem actually yet because I do have it locked
Yeah,
in such a
yeah,
corner that
yeah, it's true.
no one's going anywhere.
Oh, another thing too, if you want to be a good guest, there are specific ears that these headphones go on.
Oh yeah, there are.
Some people don't realize.
Did somebody put it on backwards?
There's been a few.
Oh man, that's on me for not saying something. But I can't see.
I think you've had it on backwards too.
No way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But
gotta
I don't know
check
because
right
it's
now.
no, not now. No, not now.
Well, I said I had to check now. I was making sure.
But now that I'm rethinking it because I think that maybe I'm wrong because I was
Because
looking
you're-
at your cord going across the desk and I'm thinking, man, he doesn't have it on the left ear. But I think I was looking at you,
Through the camera.
dyslexic, you know.
I edit all my
next-
podcast switch, so that's why it looks like the ears are on wrong.
He mirrors all of the cameras. So you guys are wrong.
That was good advice though on the swivel chair.
Yeah, for
Thankfully,
sure.
I haven't run into issues.
Another
with
thing
that
too
yet.
that a lot of TV people do is they'll put a pillow behind here so that makes them like sit up.
I'm a huge
You're not
slouch.
slouching,
I'm a
like-
huge slouch guy.
Yeah, I'm not usually in front of the camera, so I'm gonna be judging the shit out of myself.
You look great, Bobby. You look great. You look tan. You look awesome.
Tan.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
I'm
thanks.
comparing to myself. It's just
Yeah.
white as white can
You're a
be.
ginger,
usually.
eh?
Yep, I am. I do try to get tan sometimes.
What's
though.
it like not having a soul?
It doesn't weigh me down. It feels great.
Do souls have weight though?
Emotionally and spiritually, it doesn't weigh me down. Is what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do anything. Yeah, like make Instagram accounts and not care what people say about me.
Ooh, I wanted to get into that. I forgot. Can we back up to that?
No, we're gonna talk about the spills right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I mean, I guess is there anything you mentioned? You were 21, you went to Toe Jam, so you're kind of involving yourself in the scene. You're working at a dealer or something, right?
Yeah, I was done with the dealership by then. That was like a high school, maybe even a little bit of college thing. So I went. I guess at high school, I went to a school, didn't stay there very long. Came back home, was working in media. Ooh, there's that chug.
There you go.
And I started. So I guess on the professional side, I'm at home now, and I was working for my dad actually, who owned a trucking company at the time. It was freaking horrible, dude.
What were you doing?
I was working in dispatch. Phones rang all the time. It was a good job. It was easy. Oh, this is why I don't chug beers.
I was gonna give you the option to do milk instead, but I kind of wanted to see the
Probably
beer.
be the same effect.
It might be worse.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was working in dispatch. Phones rang a lot. I think that I just pretty quickly realized that I didn't want to. It's not that I didn't want to follow my dad's footsteps, but I just didn't fit in. And I was like working next to these people that were, you know, this is something you probably shouldn't say in the workforce, but like they were way older than me, and I did not want to be doing what they were doing for the next 20 years of my life. And so I was on Craigslist at work looking for jobs. Sorry, Dad. And I found one on Craigslist at a new arena that had been built at a college campus, and they were looking for a camera crew to shoot the basketball games. And so I was like, heck yeah, that sounds cool. I'll go try that. I was into videography in high school and college, or junior high and high school. And so I jumped on that and got hired. And my boss, she announced that during training, she announced that she was pregnant and going to take a maternity leave, and she needed an intern to take over and learn her job and do her job when she was gone. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So I did that. I was pretty cool with my my professors, and so we were kind of like halfway into the semester, but he let me like start late, and so that was super cool. I got to learn so much about the ins and outs of that facility, which carried over to other facilities in our city for the Cardinals and the Rams and So I just learned a ton. And once she came back, I just kind of stayed a part of the crew, kept learning. And then an opportunity came available at the Rams to work on their game day crew. So I started doing that. And then same with the Cardinals. So I started working there. Just working game day, fan entertainment. You know, when you go to the game, what you see on the big screen, kiss cam.
I was going to say, what are you doing? Like, what is your actual, like, you know, physically, what are you doing at the locations?
So I started as like a utility. I just kind of fill in, doing camera op, audio, graphics, anything. But eventually I landed in the technical director's chair. So I was operating like this big switcher board and cutting cameras, basically. The director would sit next to me and say, like, ready, one, take one. And I'm pushing the button that he's calling out. And then our director was kind of getting older and wasn't like really, you know, as quick and fast as he used to be. And I was like, we got to like get somebody that's on it. Cause like I'm waiting on him and it's like, wait, we're just wasting too much time in live. Like 2 seconds is a long time.
Move quick, yeah.
And so they were like, you want to give it a go? And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And so they're like, if you find us a TD, we'll let you direct. And so I was like, awesome. So I started directing and I've been directing for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 seasons or so. And so I pick and choose the cameras. I stare at a monitor wall and cameras sell me shots. And I say, ready, one, take one, ready, two, take two, and choose couples to go on kiss cam. And
what do you mean cameras sell you shots? Is in like the guy operating the camera is trying to find a good shot? And
yeah, there's constantly looking for shots. Like we don't really, in baseball, we really don't shoot the game. We're really just fan entertainment. So we will shoot like a hero shot, like a guy makes a great play, we get a shot of him, and then we're cutting to crowd applauding or whatever. Really, it's in between innings. Like there's a minute and a half or so. So we're doing some kind of promotional marketing thing, whether it's a cap dance or a kiss cam or whatever. But yeah, camera guys are just constantly trying to put good shots online. And then when I see it and I like it, I'll say ready, one. And that tells them, hey, keep that shot and get ready to go online. And then I say take one, and then it's online and they're on there. They get a big red light on their camera and I'm already looking for the next shot.
So are you doing the races they have in between the thing where they have, tell me, are those rigged?
Races?
Are those rigged?
Everything you see at a ballpark is rigged.
Even the game itself?
No. The fan promotions are all rigged. So, I mean, like, I guess that's not fully true, but like the mascot race, we put 3 random fans in there and we just let them go.
Yeah.
So like that's a race. They fall.
Oh, there's fans in the mascots.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
They sign at ours. They sign waivers and like, yeah, throw them in there. I've had friends do it, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. But like the games, like we play, like I don't know what's really called, the whammy game. Basically, just a wheel goes and you say stop, and it like can land on a prize. It's all rigged. We already know what's gonna happen. There's a lot of kiss cam stuff we fake sometimes, like just to make some funny stuff with like an opposing team fan or whatever. But you've seen all that stuff on social media.
Of course.
So yeah, it's a good time. You know, it's fun. It's what's cool. It's, you know, we're doing 81 games a year of fan entertainment. So, you know, we're entertaining people.
So you were there with them for 5 seasons, 6 seasons, you said? Something like that?
I started working there in 2008, and I still work there now.
Okay. Oh, so long time.
14 seasons, yeah.
Okay. So that isn't a year-round job, though, because the season isn't a full year, right? So
correct, yeah.
What are you doing outside of that?
Yeah, so I pretty much just kind of did like seasonal sports. I would do baseball in the summer. I would do basketball in the winter. And then I would do some hockey here and there. But I was really just kind of working, not a full-time job, just kind of freelance, we call it. Just taking jobs here and there as they came.
Okay.
And then I eventually got the full-time job at the Dome. So my boss, I was working on the crew. My boss got a promotion. He said, hey, my job's coming up. You should apply for it. And so I did. And that was awesome. Like he's a big mentor of mine. And that was our America Center. So it's our convention center and the Dome. And the company I worked for was Explore St. Louis. So they're like, you know, the company that are, you know, bringing people to St. Louis. Like, so it was very cool to like kind of learn what it takes to put an event on in St. Louis. Hotel nights. Anybody trying to put an event on, you tell that community you're selling hotel nights, they will freaking go crazy.
Put butts in beds or whatever you call it, right?
Exactly. But it was cool. Like, that was my first full-time job, and it was, I mean, that building was like 2.7 million square feet, and I was the AV guy for everything audiovisual in that building, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, what does that new next position look like that you took over from?
Yeah, so we were a convention center, so we did conventions, car shows, boat shows, Halloween shows, Monster Jam, Supercross, all that good stuff. Rams games when they were there. they left, the job changed a lot.
Run through that because I'm interested to hear about that.
Yeah, so in the dome side of things, it was really fun for me because I was in charge of the video control room, which is like a broadcast center. And so there's a lot of expensive, cool equipment in there. It's the same thing that you would, that puts on a show that you watch TV on, like a live sports show. So I would just involve myself in that room and learn the equipment. And all the shows that we did in the dome were super fun because it's like Monster Jam, Supercross, football games. Just super fun and just learned a lot. When the Rams left, that pretty much took 90% of the big events out of the dome. All that was left was the dirt events, the Monster Jam, the Supercross, and all I'm doing is conventions. My job on the convention side wasn't really involved in the production. A production company would come in, they'd say, hey, we want to do this here. Here's our drawings. Can you get these approved? And I would say, yeah, you can. You have to use local labor. Here's those rules. And I just really wasn't hands-on. I wasn't involved. And I was like, this sucks. There's no windows in my office. I'd get there at 8 a.m., leave at 5. It was dark both times. Never saw daylight sometimes. The Spills is being built at home, by the way. So I've got a webcam. I'm just staring at my computer all day, this shitty-ass webcam. Sneaking home for lunch, which is a half an hour there, half an hour back, and taking a 2-hour lunch just because I got to see where the dirt's at and stuff. Yeah. It was brutal.
Okay, so I think now's a good time to talk about the Spills because you just mentioned it. So throughout all of this, you're working, you're still wake skating, still doing it for fun and all that stuff. When do you decide that, I'm going to build a cable in my backyard?
I don't know that I ever decided that. Really goes back pretty far. I think that when Mike Olson built KC Watersports, I guess first I came down to Orlando and rode here, and I've heard a lot of these riders talk about the camo kicker days and the red kicker. I hit all those things.
On a skate?
On the skate, on the board too. The red kicker, hell no. You saw Steve-O hit that thing from Jackass?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hell no. Yeah, that was wild. But the dragon kicker, I can't remember. There was a wake skater that, some guys would say this is super lame, but I was just like, whoa. Some wake skater, I can't remember who it was, had a board in his hand, hit the dragon rail, came off the end of it, and then acid dropped onto the other board, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool!" Wake nerd. Now that's pretty Zeechy. Okamame would have a heyday with that.
I feel that. I don't know.
And then Mike Olson built Casey, and cable. I love rail riding. It's just so different. When you go out there, and I think the biggest thing is that with the boat riding I was doing in the contests, we would travel in Missouri and Illinois to go to these contests. You're in the car for 3-4 hours. You go there, you ride twice for 2 minutes. You're probably falling because you're nervous as shit.
Yeah.
I go to these cable parks and everybody's stoked and people are stoking each other off the dock. People are landing tricks. The community that Olson had, as you guys talked about, was just so rad, dude. And we'd always come out with a crew and he would just open his arms to us and was so thankful that we would come all the way out there and he would let us ride in his, rail jams. Kyle and I would I don't why he was letting me ride on those sketchy setups. Just because I bought a winch. I was the first guy to buy a Grinch. He's like, yeah, you can hit this. I was like, okay. It's got a ride on. I'll be all right. But man, I think that I think I immediately knew that we just needed this in St. Louis, And so I literally have been trying to get a cable park in St. Louis since I was probably 16 years old. And I've gone a lot of different routes to do that. I've talked to a lot of different communities, private investors. There's just a lot of red tape. And as you've heard through Daniel Jarrett and Mike Olson and some of the other cable owners, it's just not something that, as my old handyman would say when he helped me build the Spills, he's like, it doesn't pop up like a tent. It's shout out Eric. But it's just, there's so much that goes on to it. And I've learned, and as you know, I'm a wake park enthusiast. I've gone to so many wake parks just to learn about how they created the business. If they're in a city park, the private investing, I've met almost every cable park owner that I've been to, and they're just great. It's a great community. It's something that it changed for me because I wasn't in a contest. Even though there were contests we did at these cables, it's just everybody's cheering each other on, and you just don't get that in team sports. You don't get that in INTs even. I had fun at the INTs because I would announce, and that would make it fun for me. But the cable park community was just incomparable.
Yeah.
So, obviously that was a long road to struggle. Got really close in some communities and stuff, but just never really happened. When I graduated high school, I talked about the Philippines to my parents forever, and I was like, I got to go out there. And so we agreed that I could go out there after I graduated because I just wouldn't leave them alone about it. And so I went out there with my girlfriend at the time, and the 2-tower had just been created, and Pat was out there, and I hadn't ever seen one, and I just fell in love with the 2-tower. I mean, for wakeskating, like, you get so many hits, in wakeboarding too. It just changed the game. And I mean, it's so obvious now, but like then we were like, oh my God, so many bodies of water are now accessible. Like, and to me, I was like, with my girlfriend at the time, we're like, we can go home and find a property and do this. Like, this is a lot more doable. And so that's what we did. We came home and we started looking for property, and I had a realtor that was kind of a weekender wakeboarder. And so he kind of knew like what we were trying to do, but he was like, what the fuck am I getting into? Because I was working, downtown at all these sports venues. And so like, I didn't want to drive an hour to work. And most of the time, if you get that much land, you're going to be pretty rural. And so it was pretty important to me to be somewhat close to downtown. And, obviously we needed a decent chunk of property. And he found this perfect piece of property, 15 minutes from downtown, floodplain, so you can't really do much with it. And the house, was there, and I didn't really care about the house, to be honest.
Of course
It
not.
could have been a shack, And so like I go look at it. I remember it was like snowing, and I went to Home Depot and bought one of those like wheel measures or whatever, and like wheeled this thing across. And I'm like, yeah, this can work. I listened to Olson talk about how he's walking out while they're digging or whatever. I was like, yeah, I kind of did something like that. I'm like measuring it out. I'm like trying to look where there's some utilities and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I think this can work. And I was like, yeah, this can work. And so I literally made an offer on this house with the contingency that it would pass soil tests to hold water.
Okay.
The realtor or the like people on the other end are like, what the
Why?
fuck? Like, this is unheard of. But like, I couldn't. It was kind of a weird situation. The guy that owned the house had passed away. His parents were. They bought it back from the bank because he went upside down in it.
Okay.
He had passed away, so they were kind of stuck in this with their retirement. And so like, we knew we needed to make an offer fast. And so I did. I pretty much lowballed him and said, I love the property, hate the house. Wasn't really true. Didn't really care about the house. Didn't even know if there was one really. And and then that contingency, they were like, what the fuck? Like, this is weird. And it ended up working out. We made a deal, ridiculous deal, insane deal. And I remember, I think the day that they were like, this contingency is weird. We're tired of waiting, because I think I had done the test, but I was waiting for results. And they're like, we'll give you this price, but you have to do it now. And I remember, I think I called my dad and I was like, what do I do? Like, what if these soil tests, fail? Like, I can do a liner, but like, man, that's expensive. Like, but man, this price.
You're thinking about it as a cable. I love it.
Yeah, it's all thinking about.
I love it.
Tunnel vision. And I was like, man, I can't remember what happened, but we got the call like within the hour that the soil was gonna like hold, and we're like, yeah, we'll go with that price, And, dude, I got that. The price is ridiculous that I got it for. It's like, I mean, you can look it up on Zillow. So I'll just say it's 6 acres for $200,000 in a 2,000 square foot house.
And you're talking close to the city relatively,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like,
I mean, it was a deal. It was a steal.
wow.
Yeah, I will never sell it to anybody for that ever.
I was gonna say it doesn't matter what it costs because you're not selling
Yeah,
it.
yeah, true, never. But I mean, the value's gone up since then. But it's that was just a start. Like, I could sit here and talk about the problems we had since then, which we can go into. But man, it was a struggle. Like, I am so suburbia. Like, there is a neighborhood across the street, and like, it looks like we're their retention pond. So like, the permitting process that I had to go through, which I know everybody had their struggles, but man, I feel like I had the worst.
Run us through it. I mean, I'm curious because I was gonna ask.
I mean, like, honestly, sitting here and listening to Reed talk about how he spent, like, to me, next to nothing to build his cable park, I was like, what the fuck? Like, fuck, almost fuck you, Reed. Like, no, Reed's great. Like, Reed helped me out building mine, but man, I spent a lot more money than Reed did. So the first struggle was getting permits. I'm in suburbia, so you got to get, I mean, I've dealt with 40 different entities I think I got permits from, like the railroad. I'm pinched between a railroad and a road, so there's the easements of those guys. I'm in a floodplain, so the Army Corps of Engineers is involved. There's the sewer district. It's just endless. And so there was also a public hearing from the Army Corps to let people know what I was doing, which was also kind of scary because, people hate on anything that's new and different.
And they don't know anything about what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And so it was a struggle. And I bought that house like near July 4th in 2014. I thought the cable would be up in the end of August. 3 years later, in 2017, the cable finally went up. I remember Reed talking about in one of his videos. He's like, yeah, I thought I could take an extension cord, put a splitter on the end, plug the cable in, plug the pump in, and we're good to go. I didn't have that kind of mindset, but I thought it could be pretty quick. And man, it took, I still haven't finished all the permitting process.
Really?
Yeah.
So what have been some major hurdles you could say?
The biggest hurdle for me is the mechanical engineer permit. So if anybody's out there that can help me with this, please shout. They want me to get a Missouri licensed mechanical engineer to sign and seal the drawings from my cable is a Rixon cable from Rixon. And it's basically impossible to get this because, well, no engineer wants to sign off on somebody else's work because they have to take the liability for it. And so that's, first of all, impossible. I've talked to engineers at Anheuser-Busch, at Boeing, like big name guys, and nobody's like, yeah, you'll never get this. Like, this will never happen. Somebody has to reverse engineer it and then take the liability for it. And now like in Florida, they have a little bit more amusement stuff, so there's a little bit more lucrative pathway there, but he has to be Missouri licensed. So there are mechanical engineers that can get their licensing in Missouri, but I've emailed so many freaking people. I got a job at our local hill to try to meet their mechanical engineer on our snow hill.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. I have gone every way I can. And recently, I actually ended up starting to go to court for it like last year. And I thought everything was like done with. And I recently just tried to get like a detached garage approved. And they're like, yeah, you still have all this other shit outlaying. I'm like, what?
I thought this was done with. I've
done
been
with.
shredding for a few years, dude.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I had so many stop work orders and we're like, does this mean we can't wakeboard? Like, we're not working. We're just riding. Does that count? Like, of course we shouldn't have been riding, but I got this cable here. I'm not going to not ride.
If it's ready to get fired up, you're not firing that sucker.
We were ready to like make shirts and go into City Hall and be like, wakeboarding's on a crime, but yeah, it's a struggle, man. Like, props to every cable park owner out there. Like, and you have to stay positive and passionate and keep firing forward. Because, to a certain point, I was past a point of return. It's like I'm so invested in this, like I cannot stop. Like I have to keep going, and it's a struggle, man.
But you're more or less good to go now.
No. So now, after I reopened the book, I guess they kind of want me to go commercial. I guess it's called a conditional use permit, where I could sell lessons and stuff. But technically I am private right now. I don't think that that's the best route for me, is to go commercial, because it opens me up more to more public hearings. And now that I've been operating for a few years, like, people kind of know what's going on, which I'm not really fearful of that. My neighbors are great, but it just makes me super vulnerable to try to go through that whole process again, because there's somebody out there, whether it's a guy on the planning committee or a local government body of some kind, that just somebody can say no and stop me. So
yeah, you don't want that.
I don't want that at all, man.
So was your goal ever to be a business, or was it just to be, okay, I'm going to have a cable in my backyard, that's what I want, to ride?
I think my goal was always just to ride every day.
Okay.
I obviously wanted a full-size cable in St. Louis. Cables aren't money trees. Like, if that's news to you, then you need to wake up.
Hey, but if anyone's thinking about building the cable, I can help. We'll talk to Mike Olson. It'll be a money tree.
Yeah.
We'll get it figured out.
Right.
No problem.
We got ideas. But, I don't know, man. It's a tough. Somebody asked me the other day, like, would I do it all again? It's like, yeah. I think, like, you asked me if I would go commercial. Like, I think that at that point, I was so far in it that whatever they said that I needed to do, I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Because they came to me and they said, hey, if you want to do this, you have to give us a roadway dedication. So I dedicated, like, I don't know what it is, like 50 feet from the road onto my property back to the county, just so I could get permitted.
What does that mean, roadway dedication?
I just gave them property.
Oh.
Part of my property, so that if I wanted this to happen, I had to give them property, so that if they wanted to expand the road ever, they had this property now. Which they do that a lot in a lot of deals. But it was to me, they could have taken my whole property. You know, like I just wanted this cable to go up. But yeah. So at one point they said you have to get a deed restriction saying that you will not trade lessons for money. So like it's on the books right now that I will not trade lessons for money.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Okay. So moral of the story is more or less you were not planning to make this like a business that would make revenue. It was more just.
I mean, it'd be nice because I have erosion problems. It'd be nice to have some revenue to help take care of the re-excavating to help the erosion and putting a new erosion mat down. I think I could be successful enough to I have a lot of being in my backyard. There's a lot of costs that don't exist, like that Dan has or somebody else with the 2-tower. And so I think if I had the dream, it would be selling lessons.
Okay.
Because like I get people all the time that hit me up on Instagram, and now I had to make my Instagram private because the county was like, we Googled you and you're hosting 2 events a year and you need a conditional permit. And I'm like, get off my back.
All this tape for just a cable in your freaking backyard.
Just to have
dude.
some fun.
Unreal.
And one of those events is a charity event too. So it's like, come on, guys.
What was the charity for?
I have 2 cousins that have cerebral palsy. And so they've been in wheelchairs. They're 21 or 22 now. And so we do the Halloween Spook Fest event for them. We've done it a couple of years. And then once I started doing the Wakeskate tour stuff, it's kind of hard to throw an event at the end of the year because I was so cooked.
Yeah.
But we've been able to build them ramps. They have a river home. They're water people as well. We built them a ramp up to their river home so they can get their wheelchairs up to their house. And, their lives are definitely challenging for them and their parents. I mean, they're 20, 21 years old. They're heavy guys, just lifting them and transitioning them from their chairs to their beds and baths and showers and stuff. So that family's been a huge part of my wake, as I was a kid that Todd and Shelly were always around. So to get back to that family is super important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I mean, I'm just thinking about the red tape involved with just a private cable, and it's just it blows my mind that it takes all this effort and all this time and all this to just create a cable in your backyard.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I was to do it again, like I was saying earlier, that I would go into a more rural area where it's not as stringent. But
you think because you're so close to this, or not think, because
sure.
you're so close to the city that these issues arise. But that's also what makes it pretty damn cool, right?
Pretty different, man. I mean, when I was building, I was like, man, this could be the future. People got 2 towers in their backyard.
Dude, it could be the future if all the municipalities and all that shit are on board.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, then absolutely. But
I mean, I've Dan with the city thing, I've tried to do that in St. Louis, and I just recently hit up a local community and was like, come check ours out, see what I've got going on back here. This will give people in your community something to do that's not drugs.
Yeah, or scrolling through TikTok.
Yeah, man, there's so many bad habits out there now. Wakeboarding has changed our lives for the better so well, and we could be changing so many more lives if people would just let new things happen.
100%, dude. I mean, it's like a skate park, kind of similar vibes, but I like it a lot. So
yeah, probably safer than a skate park.
That's what revenue
building. Skate parks aren't making anybody anything.
That's true. That is true. Skate parks are sick though, so keep building those. So why'd you go with Rickson? Was it that relationship with Mike Olson? Did that have a big part in it?
100%. We also told me that all my spare parts would be in KC. Not the case. Just kidding. Mike's the man. Yeah. I mean, there's no way I could go with anybody else. Mike has treated me so well throughout the years, and he came over and put the anchors in himself. I mean, you built a cable with Mike. That guy puts his hands on the product, and of course Josh Potter. Shout out to Josh. Yeah. That dude he's the man. Both of those guys together are unbelievable. But Josh is actually was a huge savior of mine when I was having some issues with some of the problems with the spills, and we had the spillway fail its first fill.
Oh God.
Yeah. The struggles never ended, man. And Josh kind of again, I was just kind of gotta get this cable up, whatever. And Josh kind of was like, yeah, you should talk to these people about their design that failed. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, they designed it and it failed. It was a bad design. And I was like, oh. And then we sat down and went over the drawings, and I was like, yeah, you're right. And he really opened my eyes up because I was just so gung-ho about just getting this thing done. And he really took me a step back and was like, yeah, you need to approach these people. You paid money and they signed a contract, and their contract, they didn't live up to their side of the contract. And so he helped me out a lot. Love that dude.
Yeah, he's the king. Probably hardly anybody knows who he is. I mean, a lot of people do know who he is, but
if you know,
the general viewer, Listener doesn't know who he is, but guy's a king. Love it.
Love his what we usually like call on Facebook, because I guess he's always in another country. I guess he's back in the country now, but when we was building cable, I think he was in Mexico with his wife.
He's in Mexico for a while. Yeah.
And so yeah, we always like with Facebook call. I'll call him on the tower, be like, "Hey man, help me out with this."
Oh man, let's do a quick power ranking. So power rank these 5 water sports: wake surfing, wake skating, slalom skiing, foil scootering, and kayaking. You know what foil scootering is?
I don't know what foil scootering
The attachment they have on the e-foils now, the scooter attachment.
I think I have. It's not the one where you're like.
No, it's not the pumping one.
Okay.
It's the motorized one.
All right. Wake skating is number 1.
The hardest sport in the world, number 1.
Whatever the razor foiling is, the bottom.
5. Okay. Razor foiling. You keep pulling out razor. Yeah, I think you were a razor kid growing up.
No, I was not. Okay, so what else we got?
Wake surfing, slalom skiing, and kayaking.
Kayaking will go 4.
Oh, not a big fan.
Not a big fan. I just think slalom skiing is, I don't know if you like. I feel like we should talk about 3-event real quick. Like you say the word 3-event a bunch, and I don't know if everybody knows what that is, but trick skiing, slalom skiing, and jumping.
That's true. You know what? That's a good point. You're probably right. People probably don't know what that is, especially wakeboarders and especially anyone who's not from America. So.
Yeah. So 3-event is a big part of our world, and a lot of people don't know that. Like you didn't know that. Aaron Rathy, huge 3-eventer. That my best friend in high school was on the Canadian ski team with Aaron Rathy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Aaron Rathy rode behind our boat on a trick ski and did some of the craziest shit I have ever seen.
Well, that's what Ollie said. Ollie said he was supposed to save
water ski. I loved that.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he was the guy. Like Melnick they trained together all the time, and he looked up to Aaron so much. And Aaron with his he was just a good looking dude, long blonde hair, and he would like rip these. I would go to their events because Brian lived in St. Louis and would train in Illinois. And so Aaron would come and train with them every once in a while. And dude, he would like do contests and rip into the shore on his slalom ski and front flip out of his slalom ski and just like walk onto shore, like soup cash, like no big deal. Like the dude was ripping. And then he came out on our boat, strapped on a wakeboard. I won't say that I taught him these inverts, but he learned like 7 inverts, like first try. And I was like, I told him then, I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, there's way more marketing in wakeboarding, and I'm not saying I changed his mind, but
you didn't hurt.
I didn't hurt, but I was like, man, this guy is so talented. Like it was incredible, and even the stuff he was doing on his trick ski, like he was boosting higher behind our boat than I'd ever seen anybody go on a wakeboard on a trick ski.
Wow,
it was insane. But anyway, 3-eventing, yeah. Brian Grubb, Reed, the Hansons, I think they all did it.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
the old history is very much so involved in 3-event.
And with that, there's a lot of fundamentals you learn in 3-event. Trick skiing, handle control is huge.
Trick skiing is pretty fucking hard, dude.
So
not
hard.
gonna lie. We did a slippery slalom for my brother-in-law's bachelor party. You know what that is?
Yeah, no fin or whatever.
So for the listeners, a slippery slalom is like you have a slalom course for water skiing, but you do it on a trick ski. Trick skis are hard to stand on for me. I wasn't very good at it.
I learned to drop a ski on trick skis.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a pair of trick skis. I didn't even know that existed until then, but yeah.
Yeah, they do come in.
I was like falling and just like kicked it off, and I was like, okay, let's keep going. So weird.
Anyways, yeah, trick skiing is, kind of sneaky, difficult to stand up on. I really don't understand it.
Yeah, and
nowadays.
They don't do 360s. They do Wakos. They don't call them 360s. So like you spin around, you hop over the rope. It's kind of some weird stuff, but hey, those people kill it. And
I just don't see why you wouldn't just wakeboard.
You gotta stick to your core.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand.
Well, so when I was in college, they did 3-event. Like 3-event was bigger than wakeboarding. There wasn't really wake teams yet. They were still kind of developing.
Well, even still now, like the wake team in my college they didn't have wakeboard. It was just.
You guys did like a cable tour with Corey, right?
Yeah, but that was separate from like the team at my school, or whatever. But continue.
So they would let you do wakeboard with half points, and I was like, well, I can't do shit on a wakeboard. I'll just throw that trick ski on. So I went out there and just did a bunch of surface threes, and I got like 16th out of 109. It was my 5th time on a trick ski, dude, at regionals. I was like, fuck yeah. Purple trick ski, walking back to the dock. And you didn't have to wear a life jacket either. It's like so weird.
Really?
Yeah. And
that's your wake skater coming out.
No, it was like the collegiate thing.
I know.
Like when you trick ski, it was like, I was in good shape walking back with my purple trick ski. It was sick.
Okay, so where we putting slalom skiing
so
too then?
No, slalom skiing we'll go 3, and then
Wake surfing
wake
too?
surfing too. I do wake surf a lot. I really enjoy wake surfing.
What's your best wake surf trick?
Shove it.
Oh,
I've been trying to do 360 spins over the rooster tail, like changing wake.
I feel like I don't see a lot of people do that on the wake surf.
I'm
and I don't
telling you,
really know
transition tricks. If wake surfing is it, transition tricks are the next level. Cause like, dude, it's so fun to like go up and like drop back in.
Yeah.
And, like it's really fun. I've gotten like one, I think, with the handle, but like I've definitely transferred. But doing a spin over is like super fun.
Definitely.
And there's a guy who's out doing like 3 shoves over the transfer now and stuff. Pretty cool.
I'm sure Noah Fleet could do all that stuff in his
Yeah.
sleep, no problem. Okay, so let's talk about. So we got the spills. That's up and running. Still, kind of got some stuff you got to work out with it. But in terms of your job, I want to know how many different production rigs you have. Rigs.
Well, I mean, like my career wasn't really like owning gear. I was just like an operator, like a technician.
Yeah.
So like the better question is like how many W9s did I have?
Okay. How many W9s did you have?
At the most, I think like 8.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I mean, being a freelancer, like you just work for so many different people. Like it's, like you'll do like 10 gigs for this guy and, I'll do 10 hockey games. I'll do 81 Cardinal games. I'll do, several of these different entities. You just at the end of the year, you're like, here you go, accountant. Good luck.
Okay. So at any point, you're not like officially employed by one company and you're just working for them for the most part and then doing stuff on the side. It's all a combination of stuff on the side, or not stuff on the side, I want to say, but like.
Yeah, freelancing. I've had really 2 full-time jobs. One was the America Center where I was the AV manager. And then my other one is my current job, which is I'm a broadcast crewer. So I crew people into broadcast positions. So last night in St. Louis, we had a hockey game against the Golden Knights. I crewed the Golden Knights crew, the away feed. So all the camera guys, all the technical director, all the local guys. It's all union, so there's a lot of union rules. So a client will come to us, say, we want to do a show in your town, and I'll help them find local talent. Just that's what it is with the local unions there. That company I work for also does a lot of staging. So we do tons of concert stages. We also have mobile LED screens, so we do a lot of like outdoor concerts and stuff. We also handle a lot of crewing. I also, with that gig, I'm also handling our new soccer team. We have a new MLS team in St. Louis. We kick ass. We did really well for our first season.
Really?
Yeah. We made the playoffs.
Well, you're going up against Messi now, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Everybody is.
That's true.
KC's our rival now. So I direct there. And Bammer Wren, who's living with me, he works there too. He's our technical director, which has been super fun to have him come up in the industry with me. And he learned all that from the PWL stuff. So he's been really enjoying working in the production world. But yeah, two really full-time jobs. It's kind of everything else is just freelance. And my full-time job now, they still allow me to do pretty much whatever I want as long as I get my job done.
So can you do a lot of this remote? Like, how is this?
Yeah, I did that game last night from Valdosta. Like the crew. So what's cool about the broadcast side is it's all union. These guys want to show up to their gigs. They get paid well, so they want to show up. And on the non-union side, the stagehands and stuff, they're kind of a little bit more bottom of the barrel there, making like $19 an hour. You're going to have guys that don't show up every once in a while, no call, no show. So mine's a little bit easier because these guys are well respected. And I'm friends with all these guys because we work together throughout
It's their
my
career. They take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So.
And so they allow me to continue to do gigs outside of Clancy is the name of the company. And so I do some Twitch gigs with some big Twitch streamers, which we can get into as well.
Yeah, run through that right now because I'm interested. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so I work with a guy. And these are all people I've met through my relationships in the industry. But we did a robotics gig in St. Louis, which is First Robotics. If you have kids and your kids aren't in First Robotics, you should put them in there. It's a great program. But met a guy through there. He's big into this Twitch streaming world. And he has a bunch of clients that they're streamers that don't know how to do big productions. And so they have these massive ideas and they just don't know how to make them come to life. And so they would go to him. And then he brought me on board because we work well together and we would create some kind of crazy event. For instance, chess boxing.
Don't know what that is.
What do you think it is?
Chess boxing?
Yeah.
I think it's people on a chessboard and you make a move and the people who land next to each other have to box each other.
That's what I thought. Like life size kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, this guy, his name's Ludwig, huge streamer, YouTuber. He rented out an arena in LA. We did all this production. We rented out the arena and found all the production company and did all this. But But basically, it was like 9 or 10 cards. And these two competitors would play 2 minutes of chess. We made this huge rig that would drop the chess table from the scoreboard, the center hung scoreboard. Big chess table came down, super cool. They'd play chess for 2 minutes, and the table would go up, and they'd put gloves on, box for 2 minutes. Match wasn't over until there was a knockout or a checkmate.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
That's pretty sick.
It was rad. So rad. I was like, what? And yeah. And then they did some of the cards were Smash boxing, so they'd play Smash Bros. And then do 2 minutes of boxing.
That's more up my alley. I don't really know how to
I'm
play
not,
chess.
I'm not a gamer, so.
Yeah.
And the technology getting that, because that's a, Super Nintendo game? No.
It was probably on a bunch of stuff, but N64 was on too. I mean,
It was, whatever it was on like the tube TVs. And so to get that game back up out onto the Jumbotron or a live stream is a whole nother, like, because if you
a lot
take
of cords and wires, I bet
Yeah.
you got to plug in.
Well, actually, so like I'll try to tell you really quickly, but basically because of the delay, we take a feed from the machine, from the console, and it basically creates another version of the game from what they are inputting on their controllers onto another computer, and we just watch another version of their game from the data that we're getting from their machine.
Wow.
Because if they watched that screen, the delay would fuck them up enough where they couldn't compete
So you mean the delay from the buttons they're pressing to what's showing up on the screen?
on like a big screen.
Yeah.
But they watch on on those old tube TVs because it's like, component cables or whatever, and so the delay is not there. It's analog.
Yeah.
It's analog, yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I had no idea going into that. Another one we did, which was super cool, we did Amaranth, who's a huge Twitch streamer. If you know who she is, you probably shouldn't.
I don't know any Twitch streamers, but I'm glad I just didn't get got right there.
She's number one on OnlyFans.
Well, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, she makes $1 million a month. It's pretty insane. Wow. But we rented out Nona Wake Park, and she did like this. I'd call it like it was called Streamer Royale. It was like Survivor in a day.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one. Yeah. I think
super cool. The guys at Nona, huge help. Those guys were rock stars. Battleship, we did that at Valdosta. That was sick. We built these huge grids, 100 by 100 in the island, in the H, and each grid had a bomb in it, pyro. And so on the island, we had 2 streamers that would play Battleship, and they'd say like G4, and then they'd wait. And if it was a hit, big old pyro explosion.
And you're streaming this all.
Yeah, we streamed the whole thing, yeah.
Wow.
It was cool, super cool. Guys of Valdosta were so stoked because it was nice revenue because it was, out of season or whatever. And
yeah.
We had 200 pyro explosions.
What else are you going to use that land for? I mean, put some shit on and blow it up.
Should have called them. But we I'm calling the local police and stuff and be like, we want to do these 200, pyro explosions. And they're right next to the highway. I'm thinking they're going to be like, yeah, you guys are freaking crazy. They're like, hell yeah. We'll be there. What time's it go? All right. So I've done some of those big Twitch streams. I kind of haven't done one super recent on that. And then I do, some of the stuff I've done in the wake industry. I've got some other clients that do some stuff for a local college. I do their intro video every year. I do some convention type stuff like breakout rooms for L'Oreal. We've done that every year. Just some kind of off and on odds that I have some clients that I've had some relationships with for a while.
You got a big network, it sounds like.
I mean, that's the best part. When you hire Get Funky Media, you're not hiring just me. You get all my relationships.
Getting Funky. Where did the name for Get Funky come from?
Get Funky started as a photo booth company, and kind of the concept was that I looked at the market and everybody was doing photo booths, and they were watermarking all these pictures and hey, you want these photos printed? Give us extra money. And I was like, I don't want these pictures of these drunk people at this wedding. So I was like, hey, I think it was $1,000. We gave you unlimited prints, unlimited photos. And then, of course, every time we'd do something, they'd be like, oh, I know you work in video production. Can you do a video thing for us? Not wedding, just corporate stuff, because I would not do wedding videos. I refused that.
Heard a lot about wedding videos and photos you don't want to do.
I'm not doing that shit. I didn't work in news, and I didn't do weddings, so that's my claim, I guess. But I just got asked for a lot of video production stuff, and so the photo booth thing just kind of fell to the wayside. We just kind of rebranded and started doing media. I feel like media just kind of encompasses everything, but technically the business is still Get Funky Photo Booth, but we call it Get Funky Media. DBA.
How funky would you say you are?
How funky?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the name...
do you bring the funk when you go to a party? Are you bringing the funk?
No, I'm the guy in the corner. You saw me at Wes's. Yeah, I'm the guy in the corner for sure. No, I mean, I don't know. The funky thing I think is I just like that kind of music. Like it's, that funky vibe. It's just something that's never going to die. And name
It's a good word.
Yeah.
I like it.
It brings some, I mean, when you're doing like a photo booth, like you want that kind of jazzy.
Some
like,
energy. Yeah.
it flows off the tongue, Yeah,
absolutely.
Now it's like Get Funky Media and I'm like doing sporting events. It's like, what? But who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Just a name.
True. Okay. So you did some work with the baseball team. I'm curious who had a better first pitch, Coco Mendez or 50 Cent?
Oh, 50 Cents was in the dirt.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It's terrible. Well, there's a reason why I didn't throw one because I've seen the worst of the worst.
You probably wouldn't know which arm to throw with because you're very goofy regular going up to the plate up there.
That was good. That was quick. Yeah, that was super cool. Yeah, so we got the guys got to throw out a first pitch for winning the St. Louis contest, and I think Max Zuzana, who barely made it by minutes. Like she took a different ride or whatever, and like, dude, I don't know, she barely got to throw it. And she, for with Red Bull, I was like, oh my, that's the one we want to throw.
Yeah.
And so so they all got to throw. They all threw great, actually. So we had Waboba was our sponsor at the time, and I wanted them to all throw Wabobas because I figured those guys would just love it.
Yeah.
And they did. And Coco was like, hell no, I'm not throwing a Waboba. I'm throwing a baseball. And so I was like, all right, man, whatever. And so he threw his, and then we got back under the stadium or whatever. And I was like, yeah, let me see that baseball. What's this dirt mark here? He threw it in the dirt.
Had some skid marks along the way.
Dirt. That's all right. They're wake skaters. Pretty cool, though. Pretty cool moment for them.
I was
and for
going to
me,
say, that's
too.
pretty sweet, right?
Yeah, man. Like getting up on the video board and saying like "Welcome Professional Wakeskate League." Like it's pretty cool. Like we worked the World Series and won the World Series there, but like that moment was pretty cool for me.
Yeah.
Another cool moment too was this past season when Josh and Trav came to throw their first pitch. It rained out, and they got to go to the soccer game instead the next night. And Bammer and I put them on the big screen, and I swear to you, somebody walked over to them from another section and recognized them as wake skaters.
No shit.
I swear to God. Like, and I told them, I was like, I didn't set this up. I don't know who. Like, I don't even know who talked to them. But they were recognized as wake skaters on the Jumbotron at a soccer game in St. Louis.
I mean, I guess you got a lot of people, but that's pretty wild.
That's pretty cool, man. Like,
That is sick.
I think that's the coolest moment that I wouldn't say that I provided it, but like to be in St. Louis and to get recognized, like, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Absolutely.
And those guys were so stoked. Josh was like, I got recognized as a wake skater. Like, they were so stoked. It was sick.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not like it was back in the day, with like Wake Brothers and all that shit. So it's cool to have those real moments with real people.
Yeah. And they didn't say wakeboarding, so that's cool.
That's a huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Because wakeskating's way cooler than wakeboarding.
That's right. That's right. I brought you some gifts. Should we go over those?
Yeah, let's go over a gift.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
I
good
brought
time
you
to do
some posters from my bedroom as a young boy.
it. Young pup. I love it.
I'm curious if you know who this is, actually.
This is gonna be a terrible moment for me in the whole show.
Yeah.
The way you're leading up.
Wakeboard history. Okay. Have you heard of blindside wakeboards?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, that's a good start. How about Jeff McKee?
Of course.
Billy McKee?
Nope. But I'm assuming he's related to our boy Jeff.
Assuming too. Eric Ruck rode for blindside. And then the one that I think you didn't know was Charlie Patterson.
Nope. No idea who that is.
Yeah, so Charlie did a tour like on his Taiga tour.
Yeah.
I hit my head on my board, so he wrote me this letter. It said like toughest one of the bunch. Thanks, Charlie. I was like, I was 12 maybe. I don't know.
Gotta love Ruck just busting out the Tindy.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a pretty stacked team though, dude.
Yeah, I want that back, by the way.
Well, I want it because
We got more. These ones you're gonna enjoy more though.
Leslie Kent busting out a method.
I wish I could do these in order. So I was a Hyperlight guy, right? So these are all Hyperlight posters.
Okay.
So you got to look at the transition of time with these guys. I don't know if we can. Do you want to try to show it off or take a picture later?
We can show it off.
So who you got down there?
Well, we got Murdoch.
Yeah,
Not
Chad
bad.
Sharp next to him. Byerly.
Wow, this is a sick one, dude.
Byerly sitting down there. Look at Parks, dude.
You can see Byerly's already like, yeah, fuck the wakeboard, dude. I'm going.
I think Ruck was like on the team, but not on the poster this year.
Well, it says he signed it for you.
Yeah, he signed it. He was at the
Chad Sharp got
tour.
talking sponsored deals. He's making money. Yeah, making money
Was
moves.
this Levine, I think, over here? Yeah, pretty cool.
Is that Rusty? Who is that?
I think James Levine or Dean.
Oh no, Ricky Ricky Gonzalez.
Oh yeah. Well, this is an autograph of somebody that wasn't on the team yet, or it's like Ruck's thing. They were there but not there.
Wow, I'd love to know Grubb's
Jimmy
DC
Levine.
shoes.
Jimmy
deal.
Levine, isn't that right? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
All right, we got more.
All right.
Like I said, I wish I went in the right order because these are all pretty much the same guys. But this was a cool one that was just like a cartoon caricature or whatever of each guy. Pretty cool.
Oh wow, that is pretty sick. Who's the
Sick
who's
indie.
the rider?
Oh,
that
oh,
looks
the-
like kind of looks like Stinky.
Oh, up there.
Looks a little stinky.
Parks.
say.
Looks like Parks maybe.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Park's face, doesn't it?
Cool one. Let's see. I think this is probably the newest of
This
the
looks
group.
most recent. Yeah.
Yeah. This one has like hidden font in it or something. I don't know if
Yeah,
they
what
signed
is
it
that?
with like invisible marker, but I think it's on the poster because it's like there's no way they were writing that much shit to me, you know.
I don't know.
Because this one talks about like product or something like over the years.
This one says Premiere in my mind is the perfect setup for my style of riding, the most flawless and rawest rideability.
Yeah, this one down here is like
I really think that makes a ton of sense.
they don't really make any sense. How I sum up how I feel. I don't know. I can't-
Wow, these are sick.
Look at that hair. Ruck. Who's that over there?
This is Harf. This is Byerly.
Yeah. JD Webb over here. Stunt double.
Yeah. Stunt double. They photoshopped that one in.
Yeah, it was late ad. All right. We got to get the Hyperlight guys to put some years on these. I guess some of these I got from the Pro Tour stop, and I think Jeremy Baker just gave me these other ones or whatever, because these aren't autographed. But I wasn't really big on autographs either.
It's kind of a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the counterfeit this. Yeah, look at Rathy. There you go. That's no water ski.
No water ski.
Oh, BT's on there. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
George Daniels. Those are your guys right there.
That's my team, my boys. Dude, I rode so many
Represent.
Byerleys. God, I rode the blend, the bi-level. Did you know?
What do you think about the bi-level?
So,
Wake skate, that is, for those.
yeah. I guess there's so many different versions, you know, like the first one was the cassette one that Danny Hampson rode. Like that one was probably the best, honestly. But I rode the Byerly one, which was very similar to the Ronix one or Ronix, whatever. There was also the CWB one that Stu rode.
I didn't know that they made one.
It was hard to tell it was a bi-level because he had like foam inserts between the two decks. Very weird, very strange. But that dude can rip. Stu Shin, you ever seen him ride?
I haven't seen him ride in person, no, but
And yeah, that
Had the
dude
name
rips
a lot.
behind the boat. Yeah. I was a big fan. I thought that like I'm not a great wake skater, so like yeah, it's like asking some random dude. But I thought the landings were softer on the boat, you know. But 3-shoving that thing, I think it was like 18 pounds, man.
how much? What's your ideal? Because I want to get into your setup, so this is a good time. What's your ideal weight for a wake skate? Are you big into the weight game?
I'm big into whatever somebody is willing to give me. Well, I am the distributor for Water Monsters, so so I'm gonna definitely go that route. Weight to me makes a difference for sure. I remember actually like riding Byerly. There was a year they came out with they added weights to the boards because they were all compression molded boards. So like I can't remember whose deck did what, but one deck had a weight on the tip and the tail on the nose, like the nose, and another one had it down the middle for kick flips.
Man, we're talking a whole different swing weight game.
Yeah,
You're adding swing weight.
Swing weight, yeah. So yeah, I'd say, you know, I rode compression molded forever, and Byerly eventually came out with this wood deck. I think it was George Daniels board, maybe. It was like a bear on it or a grizzly bear or something. And that was a little bit lighter, really, and I liked that a lot. And then I don't know, I feel like the boards that we're in now that are pretty much kind of all very similar shapes, but obviously different. I think that's what the best riders are riding, and so I think it's the best. But you know, I used to ride like wide stance, nose and tail behind the boat, and like, you know, now I'm like everybody else and like front foot back a little bit. So I don't know. I think what's going on now, these boards are awesome, man. Like I switched from Byerly to a Leaf, and then I went from Leaf to this, And the leaf boards and this board is ride so much better in my
Yeah, so
opinion.
what's
Because
your
the
board?
riding has changed. Like I'm not riding behind the boat anymore. So like
True.
riding a water monster, I had a water monster back in the day, riding behind the boat, and I kept sliding out trying to cut in on my toes, and it just didn't feel right. But yeah, these are great.
So what do you got? What's your deck?
Bust it out.
Yeah, bust it out.
I got the Cole board here, Cole Crace. It's a little dinged up,
Well, as it should be, right?
yeah, as it should be. Some Zeech zings.
Those are some dude, I was gonna post either a picture or reel the other day of just like I had a fresh deck and I was just gonna go out and just do Zeeches and have the bottom of my board be like perfect 45s, like up and down.
Should have. Yeah.
This is a sick deck. Though, what size we got here?
Yeah. So Cole's is a 40. There's a 39.75, which is Belcito's board, and 39.75 is Marcus's board. Belcito's is a 39. And there's also a max board, which I think is a 40.5. And we are all sold out but one max board.
Wow.
Yeah. We do have a lot of lock-in fins, though, so if you guys are looking to lock in, hit me up.
You call those lock-in fins, not nubs?
Nubs, whatever.
Okay. I'm not a wake skater, so I don't
Well,
know the official
yeah,
terms. You
some
know what I'm
people
saying?
are more picky than others, but
Not me. So you are. I didn't know that you were the, I guess, distributor for what, the North America, United States. What's that look like for?
I guess the U.S., yeah.
Okay. So like
Just
what?
helping Drew out, really. It just started last year. He just hit me up and was like, hey, you got wake skaters coming to you. He travels a lot and builds parks and stuff, so
Yeah.
just kind of made sense. He had a guy doing it in KC, so he just got too busy, and between three of us living up the spills, we can handle it, so.
Okay.
Makes sense to sling him out of the shop, too, you know. We got him down on the thing, and people are always wanting to wake skate, so.
That's true.
We sold a lot locally. They're a little cheaper when you come to the spills.
Really? A little discount. Swing
Discount.
through spills. Okay.
Yeah, when you coming through, Hunter?
I didn't know I was invited.
Yeah. Well, friends are allowed to come. I can have my friends over, but
I'd like to book a private lesson actually with you, Bobby.
I can't do that.
I'd love to.
Can't do
learn
that
a
on camera. We
Switch
could talk
3 shove.
We could talk off camera about paying me money, but not on camera.
Okay, so you were just talking about travel. Drew's moving around a lot, but you've been to a lot of parks. How many wake parks have you been to?
Oh, dang. I knew you were going to ask me this, and I actually started. I had a list in my phone, and I updated it because I knew you were going to ask me, and I forgot.
You got a rough estimate, probably.
Yeah, I think it's like 30. It's like 35 full size, something like that, and not that many more. Two hours, like 4 or 5 2 towers. Trey's, mine,
Valdosta.
Well, I meant it didn't have a full size.
Oh, Blackwater. You been there?
Yeah, Blackwater a few times.
Okay.
That's Trey's.
That is Trace.
yeah.
My mind slipped there.
A couple other ones. But yeah, about 35.
Okay.
Not all of them in the U.S. though.
Yeah. What's
unfortunately.
your favorite?
What's my favorite?
Yeah.
Overall or in the U.S.?
Both.
You know, Mike Olson answered this very politically correct.
Of course he did.
He has to. I don't have to. So there's a couple that I haven't been to that I think are going to be up there, which is like Wake Island, Velocity, probably 2. I think Wake Island's definitely going to be up there. Keaton rides there all the time. He's good friends with Bammer, so it's very wake skate friendly there, and the owner's a wake skater, so that's always
Looks like such a fun park too.
yeah, it's beautiful. Favorite full size in the U.S. has got to be Valdosta for me. It's changed my life over the last few years, as you know, and there's no other place. Well, West Rock is up there too, and Casey's up there too, because those are close to my heart. But I made a post the other day that I was heading down south, and every single person from that place hit me up and was like, "When you coming? When you get here?" You know, and that to me is just fucking rad, man. The guys, the community those guys have there is just, you can't compare it to anything. But Dan at West Rock has taken such good care of me. Mike Olson, you know, I just love cable parks, man, and I bring my friends and my family, and like, there's nothing like traveling to a cable park. Like, I've had girlfriends that get pissed because like my destinations are always like wake related. They have to be. Like, why not? You know, even my parents, like, we'd like, let's go to Orlando. There's a cable park there. When I was in high school, you know, like, why not? And like my dad has now he's been to the Keys like a dozen times and ridden there, and got pulled by Danny Hampson. He came home one time and was like, "Yeah, I got lessons from this guy named Danny. He was so nice." I was like, "Dad, what?"
One of the best ever, dude.
Yeah, he had no idea. So cool.
What about outside of the states? Because you've been to quite a few outside the states.
Yeah, not as many as I'd like to. I haven't done the Europe yet. I needed to get there. The PWL's kept me so busy that I haven't really gotten out of the country in the last really since COVID. I don't think I've been out. But you know, every park I love. Like, I hate to be the Mike Olson answer, but I love every park. They're all so unique. But you know, like Courtney's Park. I guess it's not her park anymore.
Her ex park.
Your ex park. But that park is so cool, man. They are pumping some revenue through that place. Like 1,000 people through their aqua park a day. Insane, dude. And the people that work there are the nicest people. The park is super fun. They've got unit features all over, 2 lakes. Again, the community there is unreal. Shout out to all y'all. Miss y'all. Been a long time since I've been over there and talked to y'all, but man, they're all family. Philippines, that's like the wakeboard mecca, man. But that place has been through some hellish storms and some crazy times too. But that place is butter. So I'd say those 2 are up there.
Okay, it's good answers. I mean, yeah, I think Europe is one of those things that's like you kind of got to do. Like
I need
Europe.
I need someone to hold my hand over there. I'm geography challenged. Like there's so much. Like it's overwhelming. Like
there's so many parks. It's like, well, how do I? You want to go to all of them, but like.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to the Wakeskate Cup this year. I'm going to try to anyway. And so somebody hold my hand over there, please. Take me around.
Love it. All right, so I got something from Bammer.
Oh boy.
So I usually reach out and try to get a question, but this is more of a kind of lob up a story for you.
God.
So
should we give some background?
He'll give a good enough background in this little voice message.
People don't know. He's my roommate. He's been living with me
background
for-
on Bammer. Yeah. Run through who Bammer is, and I guess.
Yeah, Bammer's pro wake skater, obviously. Been wake skating a long time. Super core guy. Super core wake skater. He's my roommate, so he's the easy guy to go to on questions. So I rely on him a lot for some wake skating stuff. But we spent a lot of time together. We work together now, and we live together. So we've had some good times.
Yeah.
Curious what this is about to be.
I think you'll know. So this is your audio visual or video background probably gonna fucking have an aneurysm because I'm just gonna play it right off my phone here into the speaker or the microphone, but whatever.
We'll be good.
So he's basically leading into a story, and then he's gonna have you kind of finish the story off. But the way Bammer says it's pretty funny.
Oh boy.
Boys. Yeah, man. So we were in Kansas City. It was me, Bobby, and Cole Crace, and we were on a little winch trip. And I was riding. I was walking the rope out, and we were in a place we shouldn't have been anyway. The spot was not really that great, and the waterway was easily the nastiest water I've ever been in. And I was walking the rope out. Cole was on the other side of the river, driving the winch, so he was kind of inaccessible. And I was looking down, and all of a sudden I kind of hear, something, and Bobby yells Bammer maybe, and I look up, and all I see at this point is Bobby kind of jogging towards me with a indifferent look on his face, and this crazy looking guy behind him. And all of a sudden, I realized that the guy behind him is putting his bag down, and all of a sudden, this guy starts charging Bobby like nothing I've ever seen before. The guy is in a full sprint looking to really attack Bobby from behind, and I start yelling, "Yo, Bobby, he's coming for you." So Bobby starts running to me, and once Bobby gets to me, he's probably 50 yards away from me, maybe, a little less than that. And once he gets over to me, the guy is, 25 feet in front of us, and, I'm kind of holding up my wake skate, like, am I about to attack this dude? And Bobby, I just tell him, because we had a one wheel with us, and I tell Bobby, I'm like, just grab what you can, get on the one wheel, and go. And in my head, I'm like, I'll just start running, or I'll attack this guy with my wake skate. And the guy kind of gets to a point, he realizes that there's 2 of us, he realizes that, Bobby's kind of bouncing, and I'm going to bounce too. And then he just starts, yelling a bunch of, whacked out stuff, and then, Bobby can say the rest, but, apparently Bobby got punched by this guy, and the guy just kind of walked up on him and attacked him, and we don't really know what it was the guy was after, but damn, it was an interesting situation.
Okay. So great story time from Bammer there. So, set the scene. What actually happened there? What went down? Because we got a little bit of it there from Bammer, but
Yeah, this was super recent, by the way. This is the
this
video.
is past summer, right?
Yeah. So I went out to KC with Cole and Bammer to do this winch trip, and I wouldn't say I'd been on a full on pro winch trip before, and so this was kind of my I was the filmer for those 2, and I was going to get some clips myself or hit some winch spots. So I was pretty excited, and it's kind of my area, I know the boys out in KC from back in the day. So I hit up Brad and some of the other skaters and was like, hey, give me all the pins. Let's hit this up. And so we're, I don't know if you know KC, we were down in the, what do they call it? The Plaza, I believe. Disgusting stormwater runoff. And it's like this long kind of river that like has a bunch of drops and like a lot of stuff's not hittable, but there's like these super perfect ledges there that had been in some epic wake skate videos, and they're just epic spots for ledge hits. And so Bammer's hitting this spot or whatever, and anyway, this guy, we're in, like, there's nobody around us at all. Like, we're down in this like gross ass pond, like creek thing or whatever. And I see this guy like walking, he's pretty far away from me, and just didn't even like really pay attention to him. And I've got like a handy cam, dad cam in my hand, and Bammer's kind of doing his thing, walking the rope out and like, waxing the ledge. And all of a sudden I turn around to kind of see where this guy is, and he's right there. And I was like, oh, hey, what's up? And I think I think what maybe brushed him wrong is that I kind of like looked to see where he was, and then like he was right there, and I kind of did a double take, and then maybe that just kind of rubbed him the wrong way or something. But he was clearly like homeless, and I didn't think he was like on drugs or anything, because he was pretty articulate. And he looked at me and he said, why do people always want to fuck with me and think nothing's gonna happen? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not trying to fuck with you. Like, and he just kept repeating himself and got a little bit louder and louder. And then he went back for a punch. It was pretty obvious he was going for a punch. I got a handy cam in my hand. Like, I'm pretty defenseless. It's in my right hand, like, and so he went back so hard that I was able to like duck out of it. And I'm not really sure what happened, but I ducked out of it, and then something kind of got me on the back of the head, whether it was like a follow through or whatever. And I just kind of like tuck and rolled and started jogging towards Bammer, and looked back and saw that he wasn't like coming after me or whatever. And so I didn't know how much of this Bammer had seen, or Cole really, because Cole was like, he's on the other side of the river, but it's like pretty far. Like, I would have to yell at him to like get his attention or whatever. And so I'm starting to jog towards Bammer, and I didn't know what he had seen. I started like laughing. I'm like, this is fucking crazy, dude, And he's like, he's coming after you. And I turn around, and this dude, like every muscle in his body is as tense as it can be. And he is in full sprint, like coming after me to kill me, like scary as fuck. And I just like he was clearly out to just get me, because he saw Bammer, and Bammer started saying like, hey, what's going on? And he was just clearly focused on me, which maybe he was on drugs, I don't know. And so Bammer could tell like right away, like it sounds like I was a little bitchy. He's like, get out of here. But Bammer could just tell he was focused on me. So he figured if I get out of sight, this whole thing will end or whatever. Yeah. And so I just like put my arms like this, and Bammer throws like camera bags and like whatever he can to my arm. And I get on the one wheel and just take off. And then like I get around the corner, and I'm like, well, now my fucking buddy's over here, like dealing with this crazy man. Like, and I got all this gear. Like, what do I do? So I kind of like tuck the gear to the side, and I come back around, and I was like, Bammer, like afraid to turn the corner, and like he's just kind of like back to waxing or whatever. And he's like, I don't know what that was all about. And like, yeah, the dude was just like, I mean, he was out to get me, whatever. But I think he finally, like Bammer said, he finally came to and just realized that like there was two of us and one of him, and like,
yeah. So
Cole was helpless over there. He called the cops because he saw he couldn't do anything. He was so helpless. And so we waited for the cops to come, but they never came. But yeah, I got attacked by a bum in a winch spot. It's pretty wild.
Back to business as usual right afterwards. That's the thing with winching. Everyone's always like, is winching worth it? It's like, yes. No. Because, yes, it is, because you get stories like that. Dude.
No, it's great. No, like, I mean, unfortunately, that really killed our vibe. And we were kind of close to the end of our trip, but we definitely wanted to get like a couple more tricks in, but it definitely killed our vibe. And we ended up having a really good night with some of our friends out there, and went to this cool jazz club. But yeah, winching, you got to keep your head on a swivel, man. Shit's intense.
Jeez. Okay, so let's great. Thank you, Bammer, for that. That was great. A little bump set and spike there. That
Thanks for reminding me. Thanks for that PTSD.
Okay, so let's talk about PWL. So we've been kind of breezing and touching on it a little bit, but let's get into the kind of nuts and bolts of it. Where did you get the idea to start PWL?
So
the Professional Wakeskate League.
That's right. So, this is like a bigger picture than, I guess, just starting the league. But when COVID hit, sports shut down. And so I was actually on a trip with a college team from St. Louis, the St. Louis Billikens. They were playing in their A10 tournament up in New York. I flew up there and like closed the NASDAQ with our our mascot like closed the NASDAQ the day before. Pretty cool. And then I was up there early because we did that, and then the team came and they were practicing, and then in practice, somebody came out and it was like, tournament's over, COVID's here, blah blah blah. We're like, all right, well, we'll sit down with the administration. We're like, what are we gonna do? And so we decided we'd let the players that could fly home, and then we would take our charter and go back to St. Louis. And so we go back to the charter airport or whatever, and we're sitting there and watching ESPN, and NCAA shuts down, NBA shuts down, MLB shuts down. All my jobs gone. I'm like, wow, what's happening? Like, at this time we didn't even know what was going on really. And I was just like, man, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know. And so I kind of just jokingly was like, I'm just going to go down to Georgia and hang out in Valdosta. Like, why not? Wait till sports come back. It'll be a couple months, whatever. And so that's what I did. I went down to Georgia and didn't leave for 160 days. So I went down there and, actually, I think I was on a trip I was going to hit every wake park in the U.S. in I think it was 2020 or 2019 or something.
I think I remember you posted on Instagram.
I turned 33. I was going to hit all 33 parks.
Yeah.
Now there's like 28 or something. So, we need more cables. It's scary. But so I stopped at Valdosta, and then I was going to go hit all the parks down in Florida. And I don't remember like why we were doing this, but we were doing a bunch of grass pulls with cross. I think they were doing it before I like got there or something. And I like walked over with my camera, and they were like pulling each other with like Trav's truck or Cross's truck.
Was Simon there at all? Was he involved?
No, I didn't know Simon.
This sounds like something Simon would
just
be
Cross
part of.
and I think Cross, Trav, Duran, and Quinn. And we had a bunch of like rails out, and like we were just goofing off. Like, it's just the stupidest thing ever. But we became best friends after that. Yeah. And we were just filming this stupid thing. And then I went down and hit all the parks in Florida and came back, and, just our friendship continued. And so during the COVID time, I spent a lot of time down there. I think I had hosted one Spook Fest at this point, or maybe two or something. And I'd been wanting to host a wakeskate event. I had talked to Silas, before that had all ended. And I wanted to host wakeskating. That's why I built the park. And so me and my buddy Mike, we wanted to have those guys come up here and watch them ride in person, because seeing that shit in person is sick. And so Trey had done a couple junction functions at his place at Blackwater Junction. And I think he was getting ready to do another one during COVID. I think this was Junction Function 2, I guess. And so I didn't know Trey at all. I actually had met Erica, his girlfriend, at Terminus with Courtney and Courtney Angus. And I was like, hey, can I live stream your event? And he was like, sure, but like, I don't know if you know where we are. We're in the middle of nowhere. I was like, we'll figure it out, whatever. Like, I'm a buff.
It's a buff.
Yeah, I'm a pro. I'll figure it out. I couldn't figure it out.
Really?
Dude, he's in the middle of nowhere. We figured it out since then, but like, I was out there like doing all this testing, and like, I was like, we're just going to record it, and I'm going to go to McDonald's and upload it after. That's what I did. It was horrible. But so I streamed that with him and went up there with Trav Duran, and then we came back, and I think just living down there at Georgia or at Valdosta, we were just like, man, we need contests back. Like, wakeskating needs contests back. And I think I just like talked with Trey and said, I've got a spot, you got a spot, these guys got a spot. Let's just kind of put a tour together. And so I was spending a lot of time with Trav Duran there at the time. And so like I'd bounce a lot of ideas off of him. He's a pretty core wake skater. And, I wanted to make sure that those guys, I was doing things that those core wake skaters that I didn't really know at the time would come to these events and
get their buy-in.
Get their sign, get them to come. Money. And so Trav helped me develop, an idea. And I kind of created like a board at first, and just to try to get more opinions than just my own. So I had like a guy that represented the parks, which was actually Luke Tilt from Valdosta. I had a few different things. I had like a judges guy, a media guy, and a lot of that kind of fell through because everybody's got their own lives and stuff. But another big aspect we created was the PWL Cares, because I noticed that in all these pro sports, everybody's doing community service. And so I wanted to be able to like help out in the communities that we're riding in by doing some kind of charity event. So the first 2 years we had a charity aspect where at each stop we, raised some funds for a local charity that was impactful to the host of the venue. So that was cool, super cool. And some of the guys got to we did Ronald McDonald House in St. Louis, which is important to my family. And Cole and I went up there and delivered the goods, and it was just cool. It's a good feeling, man.
Yeah.
And, it's something I think that all action sports should really do is you really got to reach out in your community, and it's going to bring you more riders, and it's such a feel good thing.
It's a win all around.
Yeah, it's easy. People can bring toothbrushes and just bathroom items, and you can donate that to a local charity, a girls and boys club or whatever, and it's easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of cool things that we wanted to do, and of course we dreamed big, still dreaming big, but I wanted to go worldwide in 3 years or whatever, and there's just a lot of aspects that we wanted to do in the contest, and I really loved the way that Street League was doing their contest, and I think Rob Deerdeck is a genius. He's a genius entrepreneur, and I wanted to follow in those footsteps, and I saw how they had progressed over the years, and so it kind of happened. We said, let's do it.
Here we are.
So Trey hosted the second stop, I hosted the first stop, and the boys in Valdosta held the last stop.
Okay, so first year, I mean, you obviously have your audio or your video background, everything, your experience with that. Do you have all your own gear at this point, like to do the live streams of the events, or what's the gear look like for you?
Yeah, I think that I had. So when I started doing the Twitch streams, we were renting a lot of gear, and I just thought I'll just build a trailer. I actually had like a 6x12 trailer that I kind of built like a video wall on, just a bunch of monitors. And so I started kind of creating my own gear, and a lot of it was built with the wakeskating in mind. Like I wanted it to be, it's kind of built for that, but I also wanted to make it work for stuff that could bring in revenue.
Yep.
And so, so I was just I'd slowly been building gear over time, but I had definitely wanted to make a transition into doing more live events through my own company.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I guess you might not know the answer to this, but what does it cost to put on each event?
The PWL?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean I might not know?
I mean, I guess, I don't know. You probably do know, but.
Yeah, I mean, hearing what Reed got paid to host an event, what the hell? Times have changed.
You were tuned in on that Reed Hansen podcast.
Yeah,
You're pulling
course.
out all the sound bites.
Of course. That's the man. Yeah, I mean, we're not paying people to host contests. I can tell you that. I mean, I'll straight up, we are not making any profit. Every dollar that we get from sponsors and revenue of entry fees or everything goes right back into the PWL. And not only that, but I'm dumping a bunch of my time and money into the equipment and whatever, just to make it happen. I mean, I love wakeskating and I want this to happen. I know that in the long run, hopefully I'll recoup some of that, but to me, it's the friends and family we get out of these moments. They're like sometimes we're just like, let's shut the live stream off and just enjoy each other. Cause it's all the wakeskaters that are, filming and announcing and doing graphics and replays and, which is super cool and unique to any other sport, but sometimes it's a little bit much and we, it takes away from hanging out with each other, but, it's a tight knit family. We love it.
What would you say the feedback initially was? Maybe either when you had the idea, after the first year, after the second year. I mean, you probably had a lot of feedback from the riders and the people tuning in. What's the feedback been like?
I mean, I think it's I think wakeskaters love it for sure. It's better contest viewing than they've ever been able to have. I think more than that, the wakeboarders love it. I get more love from guys like you and Space Mob and Daniel Jarrett and just random riders that will I was at West Rock recently and Blanco, Blanco?
Yeah. Blanco the Elder.
He came up to me and was like, dude, gave me the biggest praise about what I've been doing for the sport and stuff, and it was just like that means a lot. Like when I can make a guy that's sitting in his office happy watching wakeboarding, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, and I'm making his day. What he said to me was so cool, man. And he did it in front of my buddy Corey, and Corey's like, what the hell? It's like, yes, what's up, Corey?
I'm kind of a big deal. Commish, Bobby.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool getting the recognition. I mean, people really kind of downplay it too. They're like, yeah, you do it professionally, and yeah, your stuff is super great quality. But I really do take a pride in high quality audio for Yardsale. I want people to hear those rail hits. I'm always constantly thinking about how I can add another mic, or because like we're running mics pretty far, like a couple 100 feet. That's a long way to run some analog signal. And so like we were playing back the clips at Yardsale. Like I don't know if you noticed, but like I was up at the speaker, like because whoever I think Dylan did the edit, he kind of jacked my audio up and he did his transitions like super loud. So I'm up there like making sure everybody can hear every rail hit, like clink clunk. Like I want you to hear that shit.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
And then they got to the guys and they're like, let's put some music on. I was like, no. But you know, whatever. It is what it is. But like I love those natural sounds, man. Like if you're sitting at home and you can hear those rail hits, like it puts you in
Well, especially at
venue.
Valdosta where you have these different materials that make different sounds, which
For sure. But even like full size, like there's so many drone clips, like whether it's a full on edit or whatever, like that you just don't get audio, or that's fake audio. I hate the fake
What do you think about the fake audio? I
Fuck
gotta
the
ask.
fake audio, dude.
Dave AV is gonna not be stoked on that answer, but I'm gonna echo
I
it.
think,
Dave,
I
I'm
think
not
I've
a fan,
said,
dude.
I think that I've commented on something before. I hate it, dude. Like I get it. Like throw the GoPro in your pocket, get the, like that. No, the GoPro in your pocket, like you're using the actual same sounds, but the fake audio, that's bullshit.
I guess how do you know if it's fake?
Watch
I
the
guess
clip.
you know that it's fake.
Watch
but
the clip.
The average Joe is like, I don't know. Sounded like a whoosh, whoosh.
I mean,
That's
I don't
pretty
know.
obvious,
I mean, you can do viral videos. Like, I'm pretty sure the Grubs thing had some extra audio in it. Like,
We're enhancing some.
I mean,
little movie
I
magic.
do intro videos. We're adding basketball sounds. We're adding shoe squeaks and crowd noises. So like, I get it.
Yeah.
But on a live stream, like, you can't do fake audio.
For sure.
On an edit, I don't know. It's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
But when it's clearly fake, man, it really irks me.
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough. I agree with you on that one. Okay, so I mean, I got quite a bit I want to ask about the PWL, but
yeah.
So, have you gotten all the buy-in from the riders that you would have hoped you've gotten?
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I'm basically asking why are some big names not involved?
Yeah, man. I'm just gonna put a challenge out there. There's guys out there that not only myself, but all these riders and younger riders looked up to you for a long time, and they all have praised the PWL. But man, a simple story post would help us out so much, just to say, I used to do this, or I'm still doing this, tune in here. Like, some of these guys have a lot of followers, and I would say that some of the feedback I've gotten from, some of the more opinionated people out there have said, why aren't these guys supporting you? And I don't know the answer to that, but I challenge you guys. Like, if you're a wake skater and you're out there and you're not supporting us on our days of our events, like, please do. Please share your stories. Like, it just helps us out. Like I said, every dollar that we put into the PWL goes right back to the riders. We're streaming on Twitch. You can subscribe to our Twitch through your Amazon Prime for free. It's $5. That helps us out. We're selling merch. That helps us out. Sponsorships, please help us out. Like, man, sponsorships are so tough post-COVID. And if you love wake skating, like, a board now is like $300 or $400. If you could just put that towards the PWL and help us out, like, it's huge. It's a huge help. Every little bit counts. But I would love to see like a legend rider just show up to the PWL. And I know that maybe some of them are intimidated. They think that, the core guys don't think they're cool, but like, drop that shit. Like,
Dude, who cares?
we just want to hang out. Like, we just want, like I said earlier, like those little bitty moments that you have with a pro, whether it's a quick hello or whatever, like those are huge to people. And if it's a thing that, even if like maybe your skills aren't up to where you want them to be, just come hang out. You don't have to ride. You don't have to judge. We won't put you to work. Just come and hang out. Like, you love wake skating, show it, prove it.
Be a part of it. Yeah.
Prove it. Show up. Like, we work our asses off, and if you think that what we're doing is cool, come hang out. We just want to hang.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I totally agree. And like, I think it's super important because you think of these legends who have, thousands of followers. Those people who are still following that person are at least somewhat interested in wake skating. They don't follow a professional wake skater or ex-professional wake skater because they weren't interested in what they were doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like story shares, if that's the least you can do. I mean, that means a lot in such a small industry where you can really move the needle with stuff like that.
I mean, even just to show the guys that are competing that you're watching, I think, even though they may not say it out loud, they would love to see that.
Yeah.
Like, I know that some guys are, a little bit stubborn about talking about some of the legends they looked up to, but like, they're watching. I guarantee you that every rider has said something to me like, this guy liked my post. this guy said something, commented on my thing. Like, we're a community. We're a small family. Like, show the love, you know?
Show the love. I love that right there. I love that. Okay, we got a Patreon question from Hayden Lusk.
Hey, my boy.
He's going, hey, Bob, huge fan. I love what you do with the cameras and the wake skates and shit. What does the future look like for the PWL? Any possible additions, to the 2-tower stops, maybe a full size of some sort? Yeah, what's the future looking like?
That's a tough one. I'll go short and long. I put some thought to this because I figured you were going there.
Of course.
I think short term, well, right now we need sponsors. 2024 is coming right around the corner. So if you guys want to hop on, we got a great live stream with tons of sponsorable elements. We are trying to go to Canada this year. Yep. Andy Oak and some of the boys up there are doing some other contests that I'm going to be working on some live streams with. And so while we're up there, we're going to try to host a Wakeskate PWL stop up there if we can get the budgeting to make it happen. Canada is great because their government helps them out on some events. And so if that all works out, we're trying to pad the purse a little bit just to encourage some folks to show up there and travel a little bit farther distance. So that would be probably like a 4th stop, and we'd probably turn Valdosta into like a best trick kind of stop, which would be cool, something different. And we're talking about, what we're doing with Yardsale and that kind of stuff too. So we're all trying to figure out what's up for 2024. And I've got some other clients that are trying to do some live streaming toad industry stuff. So lots of things in the works. I think long term, like ultimate goal for PWL is to have our contest in a venue, I guess, with more people. So whether that's like, I think the ultimate goal is to do something like SLS did, I think in Jacksonville, where they like built a course and then left the course for the community. Like that would be the ultimate, to be building parks and leaving them for the community. That's unreal. But I think like doing events like you're saying, like at a festival where there's a pond and we can bring like a unit pool in and like either put it in the pool or put it outside the pond into the pond. Our thing is the drop. We got to have a drop.
Yeah.
So some kind of pool gap. But I think like having a contest in a public park on a pond, whether it's like a drop into that pond or a drop in, a pool and floating in that pond or something, I think that would be rad. And obviously getting into the Europe scene, like the riding in France is insane, and in Italy and those guys, and just the wake scene over there is so much more massive and evolving. And Leo does some great wake skate stuff over there, and I would love to, host a PWL over there, but man, it's tough. The logistics are a little bit tough.
So, I mean, in terms of long-term goals, I think building parks would obviously be awesome to have that, leave them in the spot.
I mean, even going back to wakeskate tour and like touring with a 2-tower, like, I mean, I can't imagine Rickson or Sessi Tech doing that right now. Like, that's a lot of budget to pull for something that's not a whole lot of eyes on it, but there's a lot more support then, and we don't have that right now. And it's going to take, like we were talking about off camera, it's going to take that out of industry sponsor to really step us up, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that wake skating has a potential to, when it came out, I was like, this has a potential to outdo wakeboarding. But I think with the 2-tower setup we have, like you're in like a SeaWorld splash zone type thing with the audience. Like in St. Louis, we line the shore, people tailgate right up to the water. I mean, it's a fun atmosphere. And I think if you can do that in every city in a more popular area, like we can create some pretty sick events, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being that close to the action is the hardest part of our sport, whether it's wake.
Well, and I think that's where boat has seen the biggest detriment of, boat wakeboarding or wake surfing or whatever, you're far away. It's just, you can't feel it. If you're going to an event, you want to feel it. You really want to be there. Like you want to
taste it.
You want to taste it. You want to be in the splash zone, dude. Like that's what you want. So
like the old Monster Jam commercials. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge.
Wow, that's a good take. You can steal that and just rephrase it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting people that close, and like we lost the X Games because of the downtime in boat, and there's still some downtime in 2-tower cables and stuff, but we've got our finals down to about a 50-minute show, if you will. and that's pretty good for TV. And that's kind of what we're trying to go after is like an hour-long heat. I think we're going to really try to push our Saturday finals this year. We really want, we were kind of advertising all 3 days before, but we want people to show up. Like the riders know when the contest is, but we want the show to be the finals of Open and the finals of Pro. And we want that to be like a live DJ and like a whole fun atmosphere. And
hit him with the meat and potatoes. Give him like a really, really, really good thing. That's maybe quicker, but I just feel like that's kind of what life is now is, unfortunately, it's just much more quick hits, got to be intense. Like,
because we would get people sprinkled in on Saturday and sprinkled in Sunday morning, but it's like, Friday and Saturday. But like, if we give them Saturday 3:00, boom, and they do it 2 hour Open and hour Pro, and boom, and then we party.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. Everybody wants to hang out, have a good time, watch some wake skating, party. Okay, in terms of the contests on the tour, so you have this last year you had 4 stops, 3 stops,
3 stops every year, yeah,
3 stops, and then. Ideally, you're the commissioner of the league. So, like, what would you love to see in a perfect world? The amount of contest stops and the locations of them. Like, would you rather see 8 stops all over the world, or would you rather see 4, like 2 in America, 2 in Europe? Like, what, ideally, what would you like to see?
That's a tough question. I can tell you that the year we did the Space Mob tour, the full-size cable and the PWL, I was cooked. So cooked. That was a lot.
Homie was cooked.
I guess like worldwide, probably be like 2 in the US and 2 overseas, I guess, in Europe. I guess that sounds good.
And have them maybe somewhat close together. So if you're going over to Europe, you can do them both and vice versa.
I mean, like the biggest draw is just purse, man. We need purses. Like people want to win. The people want to go to win. And like, if we can have deeper purses, like our purse isn't very deep. We're only paying out to 4th right now. So if we could pay out to 8, man, that makes traveling a lot more incentive.
Yeah. In a perfect world, like if you could pay out to 8 and that 8th place was basically, not a plane ticket, but a good chunk of money, right? That like it covers most of a plane ticket or whatever. Then it just totally changes the amount of people who are like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to win. I know I'm not going to win, and that's okay. But damn, I could get 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Like I could totally pull that out.
And a guy like Josh Zentmeyer, who has 2 kids and a wife and a dog, like if they're paying out to 8th place, it makes a lot more sense for him to come. But if it's only paying to 4, it's like, it's going to be a fun family trip, but it's going to cost a family of 4 some money to get up to St. Louis.
100%, yeah. And without a really guaranteed, you're never going to have a guaranteed return in a contest, but you at least want a good chance at getting something back. So. Okay. How big would you say your like crew is for putting on a PWL event? So,
well, PWL is a bit of a different beast because it's the family putting it on. So we kind of rotate. But I would say a typical like stream for a wakeboarding event, I would say is probably 3 of us in the van and, Ian on the drone and maybe 1 or 2 camera operators. So I'd say like 6 maybe tops.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's decent sized squad.
Yeah, decent size. And that's, each person's doing multiple jobs. Like in a real sports production, we're talking like 25, 30 people. Like there's one audio guy, like where I'm doing audio, replay, and graphics, or whatever. And Brad's directing, TDing, and, we're all doing multiple jobs.
Yeah.
But shout out to the crew. Brad, if you guys know Brad, he's been at Space Mob events and all the PWL events. Ian Smith's been with us since day one. The dude rocks. All the volunteers that have hopped on camera, and of course Bammer's been helping me out a bunch lately. So shout out to the crew. Much love.
Much love, absolutely. So what do you think makes a live stream something that someone would want to tune into? You touched on you want to do it in an hour, but like what are some other things?
Yeah, I think. Well, let's talk about what makes you tune out.
Love that.
That's the easier way.
Yeah.
Bad audio will make people tune out faster than anything else, which is wild. Because as a guy who does a podcast, like you probably understand, I guess, but a lot of people don't put a lot of thought into audio. But if you have shitty audio, people will not stick around, even if the video is amazing.
Especially this day and age, yeah. It's gotta
crazy.
Be.
So I love audio. Well, I don't love audio. It's sometimes a nightmare, but it's important. Obviously, good video production is good graphics. I love replays, but replays have to be used sparingly. When I did the first event Trey's place, Keaton, who's also big into media, he came in and was like, "Stop replaying everything." Like I was replaying everything, like because I was just trying to jam it all. I was doing every job. I was like the only guy in the truck, so I was doing everything. He's like, "Let's only replay crazy falls like that you have to see again, and lands." And it really like gave us great direction because it's like you want to educate your audience on what you're looking for. So if you're replaying a fall, like they don't know what they're looking for. But if you only replay lands, they're like, well, that's what they want. And if you replay a hand drag and you talk about it, whatever, explain it. But replays are great. The drone, man, the drone is a game changer. Having a guy like Ian, is a game changer. And there's other great drone pilots out there. I worked with BT too. BT's great on the FPV. It's good to have a good mix. I'm not a huge fan of FPV for live. It's just too jarring for me. It's great for certain looks and a lot of like social media type stuff, but it's gotten a certain place in live, I think.
For sure.
But yeah, those are some of the aspects I think that are important.
So what makes people, I mean, you were talking about what makes people tune out. I mean, in terms of the events themselves, where are we going to see success within water sports, whether it's wake skating, wakeboarding, whatever? What's going to make those events really, have people be like, okay, I need to tune into that. Like this is something that's really entertaining.
That's a toughie. I don't think there's like one real easy, quick answer for that. But I think like, I think consistency of quality production, consistency of good quality announcing and analysis of the event and explanations of what's going on. Like good graphics. Like people, you got to educate your audience. Tell them what the format is. Tell them, and sometimes I'm not great at that. The PWL. Sometimes we're not great about explaining what we are looking for from the riders. I think in person we are, but maybe not to social media or whatever. But that's tough. I think that the toughest thing right now is in person. It's tough to get people to show up to events. And as a guy that's worked in fan entertainment for a long time, I think there's a lot you can do at an event to help entertain your fans. One thing we do that's kind of unique in the PWL is we don't have live announcing at the event. That's something that I kind of pushed because I've been to plenty of events where people are talking about me and I don't want to hear myself get talked about while I'm trying to do this trick that I can barely do or whatever. And so we're trying to find a happy medium with that because you do have to educate your audience. Like I want to say, hey, this is Hunter coming down or, whatever, and talk about the tricks when they land them. But like, I don't want to be out there and like when I'm riding on the PWL, they're talking on the broadcast about like being thankful for me and, helping out in the PWL, which is great, but I don't hear that when I'm out there riding.
Yeah.
I know they're doing it, but like, I don't hear it and I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that whatever music, like for me, it's rap music. And
in other sports events, like at a football game, when you're watching in person, you're not hearing the commentating. You're watching the But yeah, obviously you do need some educational components, like they have a jumbotron or whatever.
There's an announcer saying it's third down or whatever. So
yeah,
there is some fan entertainment out there, but I don't know what makes it great. I think there's a very strong aspect of in-person entertainment versus your online entertainment or your broadcast entertainment. Those are two totally different shows, but you can combine aspects and whatever to make both of those entertaining. But taking advantage of both of those and interacting with your audiences on the broadcast is huge right now. Like Twitch is huge for that. Like, especially for us in PWL, like our community is strong. Like people are adding tips. They're making bets on there. They're like, it's
whoa. We're making bets.
Yeah. People are like dropping bits on like who's going to win this, or if he'll land this trick, I'll throw,
I gotta get
bits
in on
out
this.
there. I mean, bits are like a cent or something, but like it's still,
hey, we don't unit shame. Doesn't matter how much you're betting as long as you're getting in on the action.
But it's just that fan interaction. And that's one thing I learned from these Twitch streams is like chat is like I thought they were calling this guy Chad. Like, I'm like, who's this Chad guy? Like, and it's like, no, they're talking to chat. Like, it's the people, but they include them like they're there, and that's huge. Like to that fan interaction, and it took kind of our guys a little bit to get used to that. Like, because there's some lingo. It's like calling them chat. Like that's a weird thing to do.
You're not used to it. It's weird. Yeah.
And so like, and there's some language that we've had to get used to like like what the bits are and how the tipping and all that stuff works. And like we are making revenue on Twitch on every stream we do. Yeah, Twitch is the shit. People don't know, but they should. Yeah. But yeah. So our the first year we went on Vimeo, and I paid some crazy number to go like the pro Vimeo or whatever, and waste of freaking money. Twitch is free and we're making money now. So our thing now is we're streaming live on Twitch. We're posting a recap of that. I'm not super consistent on this, but this is my goal, is to take the chopped down version of every attempt, because we get 10 attempts, upload that to YouTube, and then also upload the full broadcast. So if you want to hear everything that was said, you can watch the whole heat in like 15 minutes, see every attempt, or you can watch the whole hour-long heat.
And heats are an hour long, so you can get a
roughly
condensed 15 minutes or whatever.
It's like 4-man heat, 10 attempts. It's roughly 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
I love the attempts versus the time. We used to do time, and people like handle hold because they want flat water or whatever, and this has been so much better. Just 10 attempts. You know how many
I didn't even
got.
think about that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's huge. It's been huge for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 attempts is way better. You can take all the time you want on the dock, not pissing anybody else off.
It's also easier to follow as a viewer, because if
So
you're
easy.
like, oh, well, there's 5 minutes. That's always been frustrating to me watching like X Games
5 minutes,
Jam, or
that's
it's
like 3 pulls.
is that guy gonna is Zeb gonna get to do his knuckle huck again? Like, is he gonna get another go, or is he gonna get like, when the time runs out,
Stupid.
do they go through it again? Like, I don't know.
Now, I don't know if you pay attention recently, but like they're stopping the clock like randomly. Like it's I think the clock is a joke in X Games right now. Like, it's weird.
No, you need to go to attempts. I totally
Attempts,
agree with
yeah,
attempts, because
it's
it's like,
great.
oh, you got 3 attempts, 2 attempts, 1 attempt, you're done. Like,
Yeah, you know, and like now we're doing like for pro, you have to land 3, but only 2 count, so it pushes the lands more. Basically, trying to make it good for the audience watchability. So yeah, we're constantly, and a lot of this I've stolen from Street League or other contests, and we're just constantly trying to evolve and make our stuff better.
Yeah.
We're trying to introduce live scoring. That's going to be huge. That really helps educate your audience.
so how's that gonna work? What's your guys' plan for that?
So this is something that we've Brad and I have kind of recently discovered. It's something that's already been out there in the skateboarding world, and so now we are going to offer this with any live stream we do for anything. But it's kind of an event management system. So you also register all your riders through there. It'll draw all your heats. It's built for skateboarding, so it's very Olympic style. Tons of different ways you can judge. Judges use their phone. They just use a slider bar. You can rate 1 to 10, 1 to 100, whatever you want to do. You can do your best trick, best lines. You can set up a bunch of different ways. Super cool. And then we can take that data live as it happens. You know, go to you after you do your run, stay on that hero shot, let the judges calculate, and then boom, your score pops up. Man, for audience watchability, that is huge. You're going to know where people are sitting the whole way. Where it gets kind of weird is every event we've done so far, replay's been so huge that the judges go back and watch replays. So we're trying to find that happy medium of, like, do we show this scoring and it's not official until there's a review, or do we just run it and say this is official? Because our goal is to get on a bigger media platform, so we want that watchability. So something we're playing with, we're figuring it out. But we have the live data feed. We figured that out. So
That's
we're
sick.
We're stoked. Yeah.
That's huge. I think live scoring is massive for
I'm
a live
not saying
event.
it's going to, I need a sponsor to kind of hop on to really make it happen, but it's huge. It's really going to make watchability a game changer.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's available for anybody out there that wants to put a live stream together.
So you do live streams. You're available to do, this whole media thing for anybody who wants to do an event, whether it's in wake or out of wake, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what Funky is doing.
That's what Get Funky's doing. Yeah. So, I mean, we do anything. We do, our website's getfunkymedia.com. But basically we do live or post-production. I team with some guys in St. Louis to do the post-production. We do intro videos for sports teams, which is super fun and super cool to work with those athletes. We do live production, and then I'm also doing some consulting now for fan entertainment. So, I was doing 150 events a year for fan entertainment. So I've got a lot of experience on how to keep people happy. So whether that's in a sporting venue or even wakeboarding or whatever, I've helped a lot of new buildings come up in St. Louis, whether it's like the soccer stadium or just control rooms getting rehabbed for new equipment. I've been part of those processes. So trying to get more into that and help out in other places.
So is there anything that you can talk about in the wake side of things that you're going to be involved in, live stream wise, event wise, coming in the future besides PWL?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'm working with some of the Canadians to do, I always screw this up, provincials, I think it's called.
That's a word.
Provincials, okay. It's like their Providence, the states for them, state championships. Working with the guys at the rail yard to stream that. And then I think Andy's hosting Canadian Nationals. So working with Andy on streaming that. And like I said, we might toss a PWO in the middle of those, hopefully. But talking to some wake surf guys about doing some stuff with that. I've been talking to Bischoff with the PWT for years, but that's never really come to fruition. But obviously, I think something needs to happen with the Pro Wakeboard Tour. I used to go to those events, and man, they were super fun and packed, and something needs to change there. I'm not sure what the right answer is, but I think live would help them out a big time. You know, they do this big post-production with Alliance, and it's a great show, and it wouldn't take much to just make that happen live. It just would take a little bit of a learning curve. I'd love to work with the PWT. I think we all need it. You know, boats where it all came from, so...
There's still a lot of boats in the world, in America.
And then, of course, you know, the boys at Space Mob, we've always got something in the works.
Okay, speaking of Space Mob, we ever going to see a Space Mob tour again?
No.
All right, then.
I mean, so, like, I think when the PWL started, one of my goals was to do I wanted to get all aspects, like toe jam, you know, I guess things have evolved, but I wanted to get full-size cable, 2-tower cable, maybe some winch, and some boat. We tried to do a video boat contest, didn't get a whole lot of people submitting stuff for that. Full size, I just couldn't really get anybody to register. So I went to Space Mob and said, let's make this like a grassroots event, try to get some groms and talk to those guys into it. And we had a blast doing it. I kind of like had to talk them into it. And then we got to West Rock and they're like, oh yeah, okay, now we see why you're doing this. Like, this is a blast. We get to, you know, get involved with the community and stuff. And then I think by the third one, we were all just so cooked. Like, it's a lot to travel, that big group, and there's a lot of logistics for me, and I was just cooked. So I can't say that'll happen again, but I did a lot for that thing, and we all did. We all worked our butts off, and it didn't really, you know, there wasn't really like a huge incentive to run it back. So Space Tapes and Yardsale, huge incentives to run those back.
100%. Who's been your favorite announcers on the live streams?
Wow.
So Hayden asked,
what was
Hayden asked this. That was the second part of his question.
What was his first question? I forgot.
It's a good question. He was just wondering the future of it. So 2-tower stops, full size. We touched on all that. So
my favorite announcers?
He said it's him and Ralphie, but
for yard sale or just like
he just says announcers in general. So
yeah, I give those guys a lot of props. They did kill it though. They're funny.
They're up there.
They're up there as fun because we can by yard sale, like Bammer and I are just in the truck just trying to like derail the show. You know? Like we're in the announcers' ears just trying to derail everybody and fuck with them and stuff. So it was fun. Man, that's tough. On the PWL side, I mean, Bammer and Marcus kill it. Josh does great. I mean, a lot of guys jump in and they're talking about what they love, so it comes naturally.
Yeah.
Jake Ramsdale's jumped in. I mean, even Wes and Quinn have jumped in on some PWL stuff. And I think everybody does great.
I thought Gavin Stuckey was a sneaky, great announcer.
On yard sale, I think we talked about this there. Like Gavin, when you told me that Gavin's on your group thing, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think I messaged him or said something to him. I was like, yeah, man, your analysis was like so good, like really good. I was really impressed. Who else did good? Dylan Mead's good. He did a really good job of educating people, you know.
He was big on that when I was watching. He's big on educating.
I think I said that to him, and then he kept like over educating, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
You gave him a little too much positive reinforcement.
But no, he does good. But he like, you know, some of those guys, they just get it. Like they watch sports. You know, they like you watch a lot of sports. You do great. You great analysis. It's like Bammer and Marcus are really figuring out that there's a play-by-play role and there's what they call a color analysis role, and they're really starting to bounce off each other. And like Marcus will tee him up and Bammer will finish it out, and like getting those kind of, you know, banters back and forth is really what makes it entertaining. And those guys make up stories about the battles of the riders and like Trav eating raw eggs and stuff. And like, if you have really followed, like there's some stories that they've made up that have like gone on now for 3 seasons that I'm sure somebody believes. It's like, like Trav's mom, I think, messaged him, was like, how many eggs, you're eating raw eggs for breakfast? And Trav's like, no, Mom, like it's just the guy.
It's this
like,
thing, it's not real. So I was just kind of thinking this, it came to my head right now, but in terms of announcers, because I think a lot of people tune into events, you know, maybe not fully because of who's announcing it, but it's definitely in part, if there's a good announcer, you're going to keep someone watching for sure. Like I know I watch snowboarding, and if Todd Richards is announcing, I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm going to watch the whole thing because he's going to say interesting stuff the entire time.
The skate line guy,
Gary.
yeah.
Yep. If he's...
Dude, I was watching, I can't remember, it was like a skateboarding event, and the camera guy like missed, and they rolled a replay, and the camera guy like missed the framing of the skateboarder, like didn't see the trick at all, and Gary calls it out on the air. And like as a director, I was like, man, like that's a huge no-no, but it's Gary, like that's Gary's thing. Like in the truck, if an announcer says like, oh, show me that replay or whatever, I was like kind of like, fuck you, man, like we're busy enough back here, and you want us to show your shit, like
take what we're giving you, goddammit.
And so he did that, and I was like, damn, he called him out. And then I was like, you know what? It's the X Games, man. You should call that camera guy out. Like, I thought it was kind of sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some, and I think that's what the Space Mob tour was about and Space Tape's huge. Like seeing those riders that people look up to, Wes, Quinn, Cross, Derry, Coty, all of them, Cena, seeing them react to your riding and talk about your riding is huge. Like BT talking shit on me, I'll never forget that, man. I'd never hold anything against that guy for that. He didn't know, like that's a memory for me that's forever, And, we're talking about what we're going to do for 2024. And I said to Quinn, I said, you guys reacting to these, amateur riders or whatever they're filming, like that's huge. We can't lose that. That was a huge aspect. Like watching Parks react to my riding, or, Quinn or Wes or Derry or Cross, like that's huge, man. Like that Space Tapes was a game changer, I thought.
It absolutely was. I mean, it was just such a cool contest that like you wouldn't have expected how many people to submit videos, and they did, from pros to Joes and everyone in between. It was like huge.
I named that event, right?
Space Tapes.
Yeah.
It's a good name. It's a great name, actually.
They were all in the shop.
There you go. Space Tapes.
They're all in the shop and like doing a Monday meeting or something. And this is during COVID, I guess. Yeah, during COVID. And they're just like, no, not that. No, not that. And I just popped in and was like, hey, guys, what's going on? Like, we're trying to name this contest. And I was like, how's Space Tapes? Quit. Fuck you, Bob. Get out of here. We've been thinking about this for weeks. So, yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have thought of a better name. So it's
fitting, right?
It's 100% fitting. So on the topic of having people be announcers and the importance of, a good duo, has there ever been any thought of those pros coming in for the Wakeskate League specifically and having like, okay, so this stop has Reed Hansen announcing the main event for an hour or 2 hours or whatever. The next stop we have, a Pastura brother. The next stop we have, Ben Horan, or I don't know, some of these big names, right? Like to me, that would be awesome because then you would rally all these people that are interested in that guy, that followed that guy from when wake skating was huge, and now would come and watch this hour because you'll get expert analysis from this guy, and this guy will now bridge the gap between now what wake skating is today.
Yeah, and I think Marcus would be a good guy to toss between the now and then. And I mean, budgets are the issue, really. What's cool about the stuff we do on Twitch, though, is that we can have guest announcers. We actually had BT guest DJ for our finals one year at my house. Nobody heard it at the event, but like online, if you're watching, like you see BT and his DJ set doing his thing, and he's done some awards for us at Valdosta and stuff. And so yeah, we could totally do that. And I think we kind of did something with that at Trey's. We like played it back and had people announce over it like after like months after the event, and that was cool.
Cool. I think that would be cool. I'm just thinking about it right now for Yardsale specifically too, of like you have your set of riders that are riding from these times, and that's on the live stream or whatever. And then it'd be cool if they were paired up with announcing duos that was on a schedule, because it's like, you don't know why someone would tune into this rider, but they might tune in to listen to what these people have to say. Vice versa, you have a whole nother dynamic of why people are going to tune in.
It's true. And I think now I'm thinking back, like the first junction function that I live streamed for Trey, I think we played it. I must have played it back at my house like a week later or something. I can't remember what exactly happened, but I remember we played something back at my house, and Thomas Harrell called in and like video chatted like over like watching it back or whatever, and we were all just like, did that just happen? Like, the god of wake skating just came in.
So sick.
Dude, he's so stoked on the PWL. It's so sick.
That's so rad, dude,
so
to see that.
Yeah. And so yeah, we could totally do that. We could totally bring people in, whether, but honestly, like for me in the PWL, I think the biggest thing for us is judging. I would love to see a budget that I can just get consistent judges to each event, and to get somebody like Ben Horan and Andrew Pasteur to put their stamp on the judging of our contest. huge. To me, that's a little bit more important. Reed spoke a lot about, like, you know, as a judge, he's a judge for the WWA, and they're very vocal about what they're looking for. And I would really like to nail that down, but we just don't have the budget for it. And I want, you know, to have Andrew there and Ben there and put their stamp of approval on the PWO, or, you know, a Reed Hansen or a Brian Grubb or a BT, or, you know, even if it's just announcing or just hanging out, like, them being there is putting their stamp on it, you know. It's huge for us.
What's the judging like right now?
So typically it's like 3 judges. And, you know, they have a grid, 10 attempts. They'll put an X down if there's a fall, and then they'll write the trick down, and then they'll typically come back and, you know, rewatch the top hits, and then, you know, make their decision. It's usually 3 judges, and it's judging, as you mentioned on many podcasts, judging in gymnastics is so hard. Like, how do you compare this trick to that trick? Switch, you know, I don't know. You can throw any 2 tricks out there. It's so impossible to compare. It's so subjective. And I think, like Reed said, the more you can do to put out there what you're looking for and what it takes to win your contest, I think the better you are. And I think that's something that I haven't been great at, but my hands are kind of full. But there's always room for improvement. And so I think that's one of the things that I think the riders would really appreciate. And I think that's something that I would really like to see myself.
Yeah.
Because I'll be the first to admit, I am not the guy to judge these events. If I'm judging these events, we're fucked. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I don't have the core skateboard. Like, and I say this at these events. These guys will come to me and say, "What do you think?" Because I'm in the booth replaying for these guys, and look at me, and I said, "Dude, I don't have the qualifications to put my stamp on this. Like, I can't do these tricks. Like, and for me to say that that's harder than that is stupid, because I can't do it." And so it's important that the judging, to the riders and to myself, that the judging is really
it's a cornerstone of making, you know, a legitimate event, is having the judging be, you know, there will always be a question, right, of was this the better, that better, but to kind of eliminate as much of that as you can, that's, you know, a cornerstone of a good event.
And you're never gonna get it perfect.
No.
It's not, unless it's
because it's subjective. It's not objective. So you're never going to get it perfect. And that's okay. That's fine.
And everybody's opinion is different. You know, like, my opinion of doing something left foot forward or switch or whatever is going to be completely different than Bammer's.
100%. For example, I don't think a butt check counts as a land. Do you?
Hell no.
Okay, good. We're on the same page
Hell
then.
no. I mean, that's a tough one. There's, you know, like, again, I feel like we really try to portray skateboarding, and if you're doing that on a skateboard, it's not counting. If you're hand touching, it's not counting. Now, there's been some close calls. Like, I can think of a Marcus trick, I think, that happened. Oh, was it at Trey's, I think, or something? I don't know. It was at my house, actually. He, like, went down, and, like, it's like, was his weight transferred off of the skate onto the water? Because that would be a fall. You know, there's definitely some, like, sketchy area, but, like, the one thing that we are clear about is we are looking for clean lands. And if there is a little bit of sketch, but it's a harder trick, you know, the judges take that into consideration. But we want clean lands. And that's going back to the replays, like, we're replaying the clean lands. And if it's sketchy, the guys are talking about why it's not clean. So
100%. Yeah.
I think, one thing that I have picked up from my time around Space Mob and my time around, you know, these professional filming riders is that you have to be particular. If you don't set a standard like, oh, come on, man, or Wakes Each, there is, you know, what is it?
The standard is the standard, and without it, you have nothing.
That's right.
I got a couple of questions here for you, but one of them is, why do people yell, "Eat shit, Bobby"?
Oh, that's such a good question. Shout out China, Quinn's wife. This is a good story, actually. Do you know this story?
Yeah, but I want you to tell it.
Okay, cool. So we're playing Knockout at Valdosta, classic game in front of Wes and Trav's place at the time, and I don't think I knew anybody really at this point. I mean, I started to know the guys. I started to become friends with them, but I wasn't, like, you know, great friends with anybody. I never met Quinn's wife, ever. And she's, like, sitting there on the golf cart, just chilling, and it became my turn to shoot and knock out, and I just hear this, "Eat shit, Bob!" I was like, what the hell? And I just, like, kept going, and it just, everybody else just thought it was hilarious and started laughing. Well, turns out she said, "You ain't shit, Bob." but we all just thought she said "eat shit, Bob," which is just like so harsh for somebody
Those
you never
are very
met.
different like chirps that you're throwing out at someone.
But like, I don't think we even knew that she said you ain't shit for like months, probably. You know, like she's brought up at a dinner like a long time later, but like she's got a Georgia, Southern accent. You ain't shit, Bob. I just heard eat shit, Bob. So it just stuck. And then Cross will tell you that he thinks that I enjoy getting bullied. He thinks that's just something that I love. And so it just kind of continued. And it's, it's a term of endearment now at this point. But yeah, it's.
So if you ever see Bobby at an event, don't yell "eat shit, Bob" at him.
Yeah, you have to earn that quote. If you say it, I probably won't appreciate it. It's funny though, because like Luke will not join on that train. Luke Tilt, the other owner of Valdosta, he's like, I will never tell you to eat shit. I love you, Bob. Like, I will never say that to you. It's like, I appreciate that, Luke. But they don't mean it like
it's an "I love you" basically. From them.
It's funny though. And Daniel Jarrett too. He's like, I will never tell you to eat shit, Bob. I don't care how much they tell me to tell you. So funny.
All right, Daniel. Do you think Prada will ever invest in wakeskating?
Actually, yeah, it's our new PWL title sponsor.
Well, I think you don't need any more then if you're looking at Prada.
Come on, Grub, help us out.
Grub, hook these guys up, dude. Come on, we get a little Prada replay going on.
How about Grub though? 50 million views as of today. That's crazy.
It's a lot of eyeballs, dude.
That is a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. What'd you think about that? Oh, come on, man.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah. What'd Terry think about it?
Terry Bailey was not stoked on that. But I thought it was sick. I mean, it's a base jump, bro. Like,
I mean, Grub's the man. Like, you can't hate. Like, I think it's sick that it's Prada because, like, why not?
It makes it that much more like ridiculous. It's like, dude, this guy's wake skating on a Prada wake skate off a Prada kicker in Dubai off of like a building. Like,
how much money
with the drone towing him? Like,
how much money was shared under the table there? But
that's just some Red Bull.
How do you jump off of a building in Dubai? Like, money. Yeah, I thought that was super cool. It's a lot of eyeballs on wake skating, obviously in a different aspect. But
it's a different piece of the puzzle, dude.
But I mean, eyes on our sport is a good thing, and Grubb is a great, he's a great legend in our sport, and there's a reason why he chose to wake skate off of that and not, foil or whatever, like he loves wake skating. Like we got to ride with him in the Keys with Luke and Josh in like last January or something. I don't know, last spring. The dude is a legend, man. Like Luke was fanboying over him, and he loved every second of it. It was great. But he's a legend, dude, and he's so cool. He was stoked on us being there. It was just a timing chance by chance, and he rode with us, and it was a great time. Grubb's the man.
When was that?
It was this last year.
You're talking about the PWL?
Yeah, a little bit.
What do you think? What do you think?
He loves it. I mean, all those guys, like he's actually shared stories a couple times. Like he was riding with Massey one time, and they were watching it on like a Just Ride tour or something, and he's all for it. I'd love to see him at an event.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
He's so sick. Those guys, there's so many, even like the open division and the pros, like they'd all be stoked to see him there.
100%. Yeah. Because these guys are bigger than, they're bigger than wake skating, right? They're
huge. Like
he's jumping off buildings in Dubai. Like that's a big deal. Like a lot of
huge
stuff's happening. So
yeah, I mean, any eyeballs on our sport. Like, I mean, those iconic guys like Parks and Grubb that can, we talked about Rob Deerdeck. That guy said skateboarding is great, but there might be 1 in 10 households that'll skateboard. Everybody wears shoes in every household. So how do we make this bigger than skateboarding? And he became a shoe genius, like how do we make wake skating and wakeboarding bigger than its own self? It's not a sport that everybody can get to do. And so we got to figure out a way to something that puts something in everybody's hands,
Speaking of which, I mean, what do you think is the best path forward to growing wake skating specifically? You've been around a while.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's the key really, is that there's something there that is bigger than wake skating. Like, I don't know whether it's shoes or shirts, like there's something that everybody uses every day, and we have to figure out what that is and how to tie that to our sport and to connect people. It's all about connecting people to something that they're passionate about. And so what that is, I don't know. But I think right now, a cool trend is that I like to see is, I've been working with these Twitch streamers. Their audience is a lot of young people. And I think getting those people out of the house, out of watching Twitch, or getting these Twitch stars to cable parks or, streamers or whatever, I think using, their legendary status and their audiences, JB O'Neal's killing it right now. That dude has more eyeballs on our sport than anybody has in a while, I guess besides Grub, but he's killing it, man. Like he is, and that dude works. I toured with him for a couple stops a couple summers ago, and like that dude's putting in the work. He films to edit, and he's able to crank these edits out, and the dude's got a game plan, and he's killing it. And I've thought about advertising with him just because he has so many eyeballs. And if anybody in this industry isn't using or thinking about using JB, like you're dumb. Like that dude has more outreach immediately than anybody in our sport right now.
100%.
He's killing it, and that's huge. And nothing against JB. Like I said, he's working his ass off. Like it's not that hard of work. You're doing it. You're killing it. Like it just takes commitment. Like you have to just put your fist down and say, "This is it. I'm doing it. I'm moving to Florida. I'm building the studio, and I'm doing it." And look what's happened. You've got 60 some odd people on your Patreon. You've got thousands of views. Like you got to put the hammer down and do it. And that's what JB's been doing it. And his videos aren't crazy. He's putting a GoPro on his helmet and talking, like anybody could do that. And he's doing it.
Yeah. Consistently too.
Yeah.
That's huge. Consistency is definitely a big one. You've been around some famous people, I would imagine. Who's the most famous person you've met?
Dang. I thought you'd ask me this too.
Hey, man.
So I put some thought to it. I've been around some famous people.
That's right. I just figured, dude, you had to have. I mean,
yeah. I think some are more important to me, I guess. I did this thing with the Rams that was pretty cool after they left. They won a Super Bowl while they were in St. Louis.
Matt Stafford. Oh, no. I thought you said after they left.
Oh, no. Kurt Warner did like a greatest show on turf, brought all the legends back. Got to interview that whole Super Bowl winning team, all kinds of Hall of Famers, Aeneas Williams, Orlando Pace, Torrey Holt, Kurt Warner. At the end of all those interviews of my childhood heroes, I interviewed Coach Dick Vermeil. And after the interview was over, I shook his hand. I said, "Thanks, Coach, for all the memories. Like, went to all these games with my dad." And he looked me in the eyes and goes, "Son, you're quite the turd burglar." And he dropped my hand and he walked out of the room. What? Yeah, I was like, I looked at Brad. Brad was with me, the guy that does the streams with me, and I was like, "What does that mean?" He looked at me. He goes, "I don't know." So like, apparently it's a term of endearment, but he was telling me I was a smart ass, I think, because I was. It probably sounded like I was sucking up, but I was very like
trying to be
genuine. Yeah, like I mean, 21 seasons, man. Like he gave me a lot of memories, and yeah, that's pretty wild. And then for Christmas, I got a random gift from somebody that was like a notepad, and at the bottom it said, "From the desk of the turd burglar." And it was like anonymous. I didn't know who gave it to me for so long. It was my damn brother-in-law. It was good. It was good. But so some of those guys were great. Some great baseball players: Albert Pujols, Mark McGwire, Carlos Beltran.
Wow, Mark McGwire.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I went down to the field with our audio guy one time, and Carlos Beltran was like warming up in the cage, and Mark McGwire was our batting coach at the time. And we were asking all the players what they wanted to walk up to the plate to, what song. And so we went to Carlos and said, "What do you want to walk up to the plate to?" And he said, I want the song he had when he hit 62 home runs." In his accent, it's so funny. And he goes, and it was "Welcome to the Jungle." And he goes, "Welcome to the jungle."
I was going to say, what song was it?
So good. Yeah, those are pretty cool. I mean, honestly, probably the most famous is Amaranth, the OnlyFans streamer, unfortunately, but nobody knows who she is.
It's the only person I didn't know who was.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest is probably those baseball.
I mean, that's
players.
a lot of big names.
Yeah, there's definitely more out there, but honestly, like, I don't know, like some of those moments, like those guys are so in their world, like the genuine people are where it's at. Like John Jay he was on our 2011 World Series team. I've gone snowboarding with him in St. Louis, and yeah, we chat every once in a while. He skateboards and stuff, and that dude's cool, man. Like we were riding one day, and I'd like mentioned like the visibility was a little bit rough, And he had bought in some goggles that day, like from the shop, like these bright green, like ugly ass shit. And so he's like, all right, man, I'm rolling. Here's my goggles. You said you were having trouble seeing, and tossed them to me. And I was like, what the hell? Like, John Jay just gave me his goggles. They're the ugliest ever. I'm going to wear these things. I rock those neon green goggles. But those moments are way cooler than like getting an autograph, man. Like, we have autograph hounds at all these stadiums
So
all the
weird.
time.
I think it's weird.
So weird. They like know when people are landing at the airport. Like, one of our mascots is like one of those guys. I hope he doesn't watch this, but he chases people down at the airports, and he loves it. I mean, it's his passion, you know?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't fully understand that.
Yeah. I'd rather get a picture of the guy or hang out with the guy.
I don't even need the picture, dude. I just need to,
yeah.
just let's talk for a couple minutes.
When I was with JB, like, we'd be at the park, you know, he like is always taking pictures. He's always got this like little rocker. It's just like so funny. Like, I don't want to be that guy.
If you see JB though, ask him for a picture. He loves doing that. I always ask for a picture. Ask if you can be in one of his vlogs too. He loves.
Just come up behind him and get the selfie without him like being ready. That's
There you
he loves
go.
it.
Yeah, loves that too. What would you like to see more of in the water sports industry? Wakeboarding, wake skating, all that stuff.
More cable parks, 100%. Yeah, those communities. I think every community needs a cable park, and just as we've mentioned before, like, cable park communities are just so fun, and like, people that do our sport are great, genuine people. Like, the people in the Wakeskate League, like, they're my best friends now. Like, they're my closest friends, and I feel like everybody I've met in my time in this career, if you want to call it, is all genuine people, and it's great relationships that I'll have forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed my life for sure.
What gets you stoked on wake skating right now?
Right now,
Yeah, in general, right now, or it could be right this second.
I mean, wake skating is just really like it's a happy place. You know, it's, for me, my brain is constantly going 1,000 miles an hour, and when I can go on a wake skate, it stops, and all I think about is the next trick or what's right in front of me. And for me, that's like therapeutic. It's definitely gotten me through some very rough times over relationships and just dealing with stuff. And it's just nice to clear your brain. Like, I hear Scooby people talk about this a lot, where it's like, yeah, I go down there, my brain shuts off, and I'm just in my own world, and I don't think about my real life. And I was like, wow, that's how I feel when I wake skate. Like, that's cool. And I think there's, you know, that's enough for me to get out there. And there's that skateboard meme that's like, what, I quit skateboarding. What is it? Like,
I didn't get old because I
got old. Yeah, what, you know what I mean? So like,
well, now we got to say it because people are gonna be pissed if they don't hear what it is. I got old. I didn't get old because I quit skating. I quit skating because I got old, but it's backwards.
yeah, I quit skating because I got old.
No, I didn't quit skating because I got old. I got old because I quit skating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you keep riding, you're gonna stay young.
You can
Mentally, physically, everything. It keeps you happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge. And I mean, that was the goal with, like, you know, I definitely had the dream to move down to here, Orlando, and do the whole thing. But like, I don't think I think my dad kind of set me back and was like, don't combine your hobbies and your careers, and tried to keep me on like a focused path. But I think my ultimate goal was really just to ride every day because I enjoyed it. And, I want to take advantage of that. And I you know, preparing for this, I was thinking about that a little bit, and it's like, I think in 2024, I want to try to ride, maybe not every day, but as much as possible, just to I have that opportunity. Like, why not? I definitely have broken some ice on the spills and been out there before. So
It gets that cold in St. Louis?
Oh yeah. And with the Rixson, you can ride by yourself too.
So do you think you bought the superior 2-tower system?
We're about to.
Because in my personal opinion, I do believe you did.
Yeah, I 100% do. Yeah. There's a lot of things I would say, for sure. I can't say that I have, like, obviously I've never owned a Sesitech and done a lot of maintenance on Sesitechs. I lived at Valdosta enough to see some of their struggles and some other places. It's not a bad cable. There's no bad cables out there.
No.
They're all sick as hell. But, man, Rixson really killed it. The linear cable, horizontal cable with the sled for wakeboarding the tension is way better for air tricks.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do that shit. Not my cup of tea. I've done a couple on the turn when I first got the cable. I was like, I'm going to do this for ab workouts. And I was like, screw this.
I mean, it is a good ab workout.
The maintenance is unreal easy. There's hardly any. I grease it every month or so, depending on how much we're riding. There's a counterweight at the other end.
Gotta have the counterweight.
And a lot of our parts are very similar to the full size. And so it's, somewhat accessible to get. Not always the easiest, but it's a great cable.
So you're happy with the one you got, though?
Yeah, you can also hit the green button and go without anybody there.
It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Don't tell my parents that. But I've done it a few times. But it's hard because you really have to ride with my place is pretty narrow, and so you have to ride with a pretty short rope so you can actually like do a turn, and you're going to get a strong pull because it's only like 50 feet wide or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely possible.
Yeah,
I've been out there. I remember the first time that I think both Trav Belcito and Trav Duran came. I was just so stoked that these like sick riders were at my house, and I got up at 8:00. I was doing laps before they even got up out of bed, and they I look up and they're on the deck drinking coffee, just laughing because I'm just doing laps. It's like, stoked the guys are here, come down and ride.
So what happens when you fall? It keeps going back and forth.
Yeah,
Take it back to the remote.
Yeah, dude. So one time, so my property's on a floodplain and it floods. And one year it flooded high enough to go over the berm, so like I could ride outside of the like normal area of the lake. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. And so I went out there by myself and I was just doing hot laps, like not trying anything new or anything. And then I got a little cocky and started doing these like weird butter slide turns or whatever. And so I got to this one and I like slid so far and just got yanked. The handle just pinged out of my hand. I was like, fuck. And so like typically you can just, swim to the shore, run back to the start dock. Well, it's flooded. So I had to swim.
Oh, it's going for a minute.
All the way back. Because I'm at the far tower. So
Yeah.
I'm swimming, 800 feet back to the start dock in disgusting flooded water, and this whole thing's just I was like, oh my God. Thank God there was like no features out there to catch the handle. And the water was so high, there was no spillway anymore. The spillway was like underwater, so it was just like a lake basically. It's pretty weird.
How often would you say you ride then?
Not enough. A few times a week. I'd say 3 times a week.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of more than me.
But I should be riding every day.
Well, if you got it in your backyard, you should be riding.
Should be riding every day and filming every day, but life happens.
Commish is busy, dude. Commish life. It ain't easy. All right. I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about? It seems like maybe there might be, but you brought a list. Oh no.
No, I just had some notes.
Terry Bailey had a whole notebook when we were going through.
I saw that.
I mean, props. That's a good play. I love that play.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about Come On Man.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So I was in Australia when this happened. We haven't really. I don't think we've talked about our interaction.
We definitely maybe on message, but maybe not.
Yeah. So I guess Hunter knew who I was. I definitely didn't know who Hunter was. We had met apparently, but I was in Australia and you were ripping the Australians apart at that time. Tommy got a good one.
He butt checked the shit out of that. So yeah, he did get a good one.
But you were cooking everybody at Cables. So like they were all like, who the is this guy?
It definitely wasn't intentional, but that it was in the same spot.
When I was there, it was like they were like, we're getting attacked. Like it's an Australian for sure, And so I was like, I think I thought it was JB pretty hard, right?
A lot of people thought it was JB, yeah.
And because like you did some edit on him, I was like, I think JB did that himself just to like take
that
himself
would be a
out
JB
of
move, too.
Yeah,
like
right?
he would have do that.
He's a very smart guy.
Yeah,
strategic. And so, man, a lot of people were like, it was hilarious. They were all like so pissed, but laughing. Like Tommy's my boy. Dude. He took me surfing, taught me to surf. And he smashed his nose when he taught me to. He came out all bloody. Like, that should be me, dude.
I'm the one learning, man.
But shout out him, and he's great. He's so funny. But yeah, he was bumming, and it was like he's hilarious himself, and so like he was all about it. But like nobody could figure it out. And like then of course I go to West Rock, and Dan's got the little thing drawn on the door, and so I'm like, yeah, you watch this guy draw this thing. I'm like I have to know who this is. And then you started messing with me, being like, yeah, I know who you are, Bob, but you don't know who I am. We met once, started messing with me or whatever. And then the Park Pro Tour happened, I think, and you were still a mystery at that time. I can't remember exactly like the timing of it coming out, but I remember it coming out and everybody being like, who's this scrub wakeboarder talking all this shit?
Whoa. Scrub, I had a street part out at the time. Come on, guys. How many street clips are you racking up?
Didn't you reveal it in the first CMT or the second?
The first one.
Yeah, so did you have a part on it?
That was the part that I revealed it in.
Yeah. So I think I would have waited.
I should have waited. I should have never done it.
You should never.
Also, I think it kind of ran its course and it was kind of over. So
yeah, but I remember everybody being super bummed that it was like not a pro rider.
Wow, that's the first time I'm hearing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
That makes me even happier that they were all bummed.
You should be like, you should hell yeah. But yeah, they were all bummed and like, they're like, oh, who's? I think even Courtney was like, oh, it's some scrub from up north in the States. Like, what? Who's this? And then everybody just kind of forgot about it, and they're like, all right, he was onto something. Like, but like, what was it like, Big, being mysterious, and why did you want to reveal yourself?
I mean, like I said, it kind of had run its course for me.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't really interested in making a ton more of the videos. And I feel
Just
like
too much hate. Well, not hate, but like it's just.
I really didn't get that much hate. There were like a couple people that were like really mad, but there were like a couple people that were not stoked. But dude, almost everyone was like, ha ha ha. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So it was like, it wasn't like a serious thing, that it wasn't supposed to be serious, right?
No,
like,
yeah. I mean, like we mentioned, like you can't. There's no progression without hate, and like it was needed. I mean, Wake Siege was needed at that point, and I wasn't really like that involved when that was all going on. But like listening to Dylan talk about like the nicest guy in the world being Wake Siege, like
right, yeah,
so funny.
Yeah, but I do feel as though it did clean up a lot. I think that we were getting a little sloppy. Like there was a lot of sloppy shit going down, especially by the pros. So I was like, well,
but who's this guy? Who's this guy to be that guy?
Scrub from up north.
I think it's sick, and like again, props to you with the Oakmont, man. Was sick to like get your name out there, I think, and then like the crowd matters, man. You've really just taken the bull by the horns, and like props to you because it's not easy. Like just trying to stick with like Sunday hangs with Bammer week to week, like that's freaking hard. And you're doing research, and like you're killing it, dude. Keep it up,
dude. Appreciate it.
There's so many connections that everybody's having to this podcast that I think is super sick.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to hear. I mean, stories from you, but like everybody else, it's like it's awesome to hear that people are stoked on it.
I mean, like Dowdy used to ride INT. I helped Dowdy learn his first tantrum, man. Like he's throwing tantrums on the trampoline, but he was just doing head dives onto the trampoline. And then like a week later, his dad's like, check it out. You got it. He's doing 1 week tantrums at like 7 years old, dude.
Kid was good.
Dude, he was unreal.
Still is good. Love to get Dowdy on the pod. That'd be a good one.
I'll help you out with that.
Yeah.
We still talk every once in a while. I was good friends with his family,
dude, so it's like,
oh yeah, true.
So I don't know.
His dad and mom are awesome people. Like I was supposed to go out hang out with another family at the lake they were at, and ended up staying with them all weekend. And like that family's rock. Dude, they're awesome.
I bet, dude.
Dad's
To make a kid
sick.
like Dowdy, I mean, yeah.
They got like 6 kids. There's so many kids running around that house.
I didn't know they had that many siblings. That explains a lot. I do want to say, before we wrap it up, I do want to say thank you from the entire wakeboard industry, because I can speak on behalf of everybody, apparently.
Oh.
But seriously, I feel like you don't get enough thanks. You get a lot of thanks. Like at Yardsale, everyone's very appreciative, but like what you do and what you've done for wakeboarding and wakeskating has been, you can't measure the amount of, eyeballs you've gotten on the sport and the legitimacy you've brought to these contests with the live streams. And I think everybody can only hope that we'll see more and more and more of Bobby Commish in the future.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm all right with staying behind the camera, it's fine. But no, I appreciate that. Like I said, wakeboarding has really changed my life, and I don't know where I would be without it, to be honest. Like, shout out to my parents for letting me be this wake skater dude that wear board shorts to high school every day. And like, dude, I was such a goofball. Like, but I mean, I always did like weird shit. My parents were always behind it. Like I played the bassoon in high school. Like I was
the what?
The bassoon, the hardest woodwind instrument, double reed. Yeah.
Oh, that is
stupid shit. I played it because I liked the Peter and the Wolf cartoon, and the grandpa was the bassoon.
Okay.
Whatever, random shit. And so like, they always just supported me, and like this whole idea of doing the cable, they supported me the whole time. And I had to get some money from them here and there just because things were going the wrong way. And they've always been behind me, and I don't know what I would do without them, but they introduced me to this crazy passion, and it's really shaped me, and I think made me a better person. And it's just my small way of giving back to a sport that's done so much for me and my family. And more than that, I think we're all super like unique to be a part of a sport that's so young. Like I work in baseball. Baseball's hundreds of years old. Like this sport's been born in our lifetime, and we are making an impact for history forever. So we're pretty lucky to be in the birth of this sport. It's all still pretty young. So what we can do to help make that sport bigger and better and pay back what it's done for us, I think is just a small token of our appreciation.
100%. I think the part about it being young is something that people often don't think about, but it's a very unique, cool thing. Like, it's still being shaped what it is today. Like, rail riding is.
Yeah, and I think it's going to constantly evolve. Like wake surfing has changed our sport dramatically, and it's almost kind of disconnected from wakeboarding and wake skating now, which is so interesting to me. But like, our boat's going to be surf boats, and cable's going to be its own thing. Like, who knows what's going to happen in the future, and things are constantly going to evolve. But it takes people like yourself and myself and Space Mob and Daniel Jarrett and John Drylings and, you know, all these big names that are just doing what they can to help keep our sport in the presence, you know, in front of eyeballs.
Yeah.
We got to.
And keep it growing, keep it going in the right direction that we want to see it go in.
People with passions are better people, you know, like.
Dude, people without them are boring.
They suck.
They do kind of
Life
suck,
suckers.
man.
They're Karens, right? They're the ones that are kicking us out of spots.
I was going to say they're the ones showing up to the county meeting saying that you don't want this damn cable in my backyard.
Yeah.
So. Is there anybody, is there anything else you want to talk about or anyone you want to thank?
There's all kinds of people I want to thank.
I love the notebook.
Yeah.
Or notepad or whatever.
This is like a total media pad here. I have a list of people that I'm going to forget, a bunch of people, but, you know, starting out in the early days of INT, like there were some families like the Fowler family, they took us under their wing. The Vosses, they ran our INT locally. They really, you know, drug me into the sport and got me involved. I was announcing and doing all those things. The homies growing up, riding, Malashok, Myrecord, anybody that helped with the spills, Gabe, Kyle, his brother, Justin, the struggle, which was my first attempt at a park in my backyard. That was a long time ago. I should show you a picture of that. That was some stupidity.
Yeah, send that in so I can put it up.
It's a great one. Space Mob, those guys have been huge. Some of my best friends, definitely my best friends. Bammer's been great roommate, and you know, that dude has some amazing outlooks on life. Everybody at Valdosta and everybody at every wake park that's ever done anything to like move a feature, tighten a carrier, you guys are the backbone of this industry, and we got to get more cable parks out there. And so I really encourage people to just go visit more cable parks, like travel. Every cable park is fun. You might meet a new best friend. You might meet a new rider, and you might try a new trick because you're watching somebody else. And, you know, like even just being out at Valdosta today, Quinn's like, why aren't you riding? Like, you're here, go ride. You know, it's like stuff like that. People are just so pumped up to go ride and get out there, visit more parks. Otherwise, they're going to close. They're closing like not good right now.
Don't worry about it. We're good. We're good.
Are we?
We're going to be all right. Don't worry.
I'm worried, dude. You really not worried?
I'm not that worried.
Why?
Well, I'm not going to act worried even if I was.
I'm worried, dude. Like, we had 33 parks in 2020, and now we're down to 28.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a reason for a few of them, but yeah, it's definitely, it's interesting.
I got one for you.
Okay.
This is a Daniel Jarrett justified question.
Oh, boy.
He talks a lot about the two-tower privatization.
Okay, yeah.
My situation's a bit different. Where do you stand with that effect on wakeboarding?
So when I talked to Reed about it, it seems to be more wake skating that it affected than wakeboarding so much. I mean, there were some like Area 52 and stuff like that, but
yeah, I mean, I guess like the boat side is kind of private a little bit too, you know?
It's basically what it is. A boat is a private cable that you know, is less versatile in terms of the riding that you can do behind it. But I think it's interesting. Reed didn't seem to think it had much of an effect on wake skating's overall growth and impact, and he didn't seem to think it had was a big deal. I mean, what do you think?
I disagree with that a little bit.
I would say that I kind of disagree too. He had some good points, but
for him, it was great. Like, he was landing more tricks than anybody, you know? But I don't know, like, I'm not talking shit on Reed, but like, you know, I think he was probably charging people to come ride his thing. I would imagine he's got electric bills and stuff to pay. And like, it's hard to say that that's really growing the sport. Yeah, it's progressing the sport for sure. He's landing new tricks and stuff, but it's not hurting the sport by any means. But there's something that Dan has about going to a park and showing up
his
on the
absence,
dock.
though, is I think kind of Dan's point is like if these pros are never at the parks that all the other people go to, it's tough because it's like, well, for me, if I'm growing up and I'm wakeboarding and wake skating, if I see Trent Stuckey at the park and he's doing crazy shit. I'm like, okay, wow, cool. That's awesome. That's motivating me to go ride. But if there are no wake skaters at your park, nobody is going to wake skate because there is nobody to wake skate with, and there's nobody to hang out with and talk shit about wake skating.
Nobody to swim with.
Nobody to swim with. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we did before the PWL started, we did like a Wakeskate Wednesday thing to try to like just drive promotion, and it was tough. Like Wednesday's a tough day, first of all, for people to go to the cable park, and we brought a bunch of old decks and got people on. People were stoked to get on wake skates, but like it's a drop in the bucket. We're there for one day of a whole season. You know, if we were there for a month or a whole season, you know, like there's guys at West Rock that come and ride. Like I'm there once a month or so on a good year, and Greg's there every once in a while, and some regulars. But unless you're there every day, it's tough. I don't know. It's a tough one. I feel like you got to go to cable parks to grow, but like also like Water Monsters isn't going to be selling boards at cable parks. I don't think. Maybe like a Valdosta, but like not like a Nona.
Yeah,
they're going to get like a compression molded Liquid Force or Ronix entry level board. So I don't know. I don't think that Wakeskate sales are the end all be all. You know, I think it's something else that everybody can use.
What do you mean by that?
Like Deer Dick with the shoes, like it's going to be, you know, if you take a random 100 people, maybe one of them, even if you take a random 100 wakeboarders, maybe one of them will have a wake skate, but all of them have a pair of shoes, you know?
Yeah.
You just have to get something to tie to wake skating to grow. I don't know what that is.
Is wake skating too hard? Because it's pretty hard.
It's pretty hard.
I mean, that's part of what makes it cool, right? Like that's part of why it's cool. For me, at least. Like that's part of why skateboarding's cool. It's because it's fucking hard. Like that's part of why it's cool.
Yeah, but I guess is it too hard? I don't know.
If I want to get my mom or my sister or my brother-in-law into wake skating,
I guess it's a barrier to entry.
Do I get them into wakeboarding first?
You'll get a different answer from every person on that one. I've had guys I gotten up on a wake skate without any wakeboarding and they land a shove first try. I've gotten guys that have tons of wakeboard skill that struggle on the wake skate. You know, obviously they go hand in hand a bit. There's some fundamentals there. Even trick skiing and water skiing help out, but it's tough. It's a tough barrier to entry. You know, it's not an aqua park. You can't just go out there and do it. So is it too hard? I don't know. I think that there's not enough opportunities to, even the same in wakeboarding. Like it's that constant fight of slow ride versus catering to your members. You know, if there were more two towers out there and people could get more attempts at trying it, I think that it would be successful. But it's hard to have two full size cables. You know, it's just hard to get people out there. I think. Yeah. I think like having events in public parks, like we did a show in St. Louis on 4th of July. It was a concert series, and we ended up doing some like wakeboard cable setup. And I was like, man, this is so cool, but it'd be way cooler if we were like teaching people how to wakeboard here.
Well, that's the thing with all those events, right? Where it's like you do a demo of wakeboarding on the cable. But if there's no cable park around, all these people saw this event, they thought it was cool. Hey, that'd be fun to try.
They're even like, what is this thing?
Yeah, what is this thing? Tell me more. I want to learn. Yeah. But if there's nothing around them for them, if they can't try it, then it's like,
what's
the cool point? That you expose it to them, but there isn't nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, like a guy goes to do a backflip, they're like, yeah, what's this motorized zip line? Where can I do that at? Florida? Oh, okay.
You can buy your own for 100 G's or whatever.
Yeah. 125 G's. I don't know. Yeah, I think we just need more. We need more parks. We need more two towers. We just need more access to the water, and it's gonna take time. I don't know what the trick is, but
I'm gonna keep pushing ski resorts pretty heavy. I'm just gonna keep saying it until it happens.
So I've talked to Hidden Valley's our local ski hill. You're talking about using the snow base or whatever. Yeah.
Or just the fact that it would be a perfect spot for the cable to be.
It is. I mean, like, so at Hidden Valley, they have a zip line that they put in. They spent like $4 million on this zip line. So it's a Vail resort. Somebody died at another Vail resort that has a zip line. So guess what? Zip line's been shut down. It worked one season. The worst part about the zip line is I think it's like $75 to do the 4 zip tour or whatever. How many times are you going to do that? Once. You're never going to go back and do that again. You got all 4. You paid $75. It's a one and done.
Yeah.
So stupid. That's a waste of money. And they have this, like, we're designing a new lake at the bottom of our hill right now. And I'm like, let me design that lake. Like, I've designed a few now. Let me help you out. And I don't know if it's a liability thing. It's sometimes I get, like, when I was working with these city county things, sometimes you get the reason why, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just they stop talking. Sometimes
They
it's
can look
like,
into it and they're like, it's just too much red tape. It's way too hard for us to try and figure this out.
And they're scared of the liability, but there's all, like, I had Mike Olson give you an answer for every piece of red tape that somebody throws at you, you know, and people just, they don't want to fight. They don't want to fight for it. So,
well, yeah.
It's dumb though. It's such like, I watch thousands of people go through that place in the 2.5 months we're open from January to the middle of March. And they could be open with a wakeboard park for 5 months, even the 3 months of Maine summer, you know, and it's pulling teeth, man. It's weird.
It is
and
weird.
Yet they're going wasted. And they don't drink that much at our hill, but like some of these big mountains are flying down these things wasted.
Every single mountain, you will see that at every single mountain. They're
crazy
getting hammered at the bar at the bottom or in the parking lot, and then they're going snowboarding or skiing. Every
Slamming them
mountain.
up the ski lift and like
fireball shooters on the thing. It's like everybody's doing it.
And we're strictly no alcohol, and we struggle to get parks.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
I just, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if you get a couple dominoes to fall when it comes to the ski industry part of things.
If you can get like a Vail on board, get one proof of concept.
Yeah.
Like, man, if we could get it, I think what now is going to take for a wakeboard park to be successful is it's not going to be a wakeboard park. It's going to be an action park of
100%.
some kind.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, to get somebody on board like a Vail, man, that would be a game changer.
It would be so cool because they all have restaurants and bars. Can you build the lake within viewing of the restaurant bar? You got a beach. Now you can keep your restaurant open year round. That helps with everything.
You can keep your chairlifts open
you keep your chairlifts
free
open
rides
for tours or whatever.
yeah.
Get people there. Like to me, it makes so much more sense than it doesn't make sense.
Have you been up to Roseland?
I haven't.
I haven't either. Yeah.
Is that one at a ski resort?
I think that's what Mike said on your podcast.
Yeah. I guess I haven't been. So I don't
haven't been either, but yeah, I don't know. Be interesting.
Yeah, it would be.
I think it would work, but those are corporations, and the corporations are tough to break.
Well, they got to just see a huge return.
It's got to be somebody from the inside, and like I'm on the inside now, and I'm on the terrain park at Hidden Valley, and it's just not happening.
You just got to keep pushing.
Yeah,
just keep pushing.
Yeah.
All right, man.
It's snow. We're not pushing it on snow.
That's true. That's true.
This has been a good one.
This has been a
What's your
great
hottest take on wakeboarding?
Oh, man. Well, I didn't
you
spin
spin
the
the fucking wheel.
I didn't spin the wheel, so I didn't land on it. So I guess I don't have to do a hot take.
I want to fail at this wakeskate trivia too. What's the STL trivia?
Let's do the trivias real quick. I mean, I wrote them down. Might as well do them, huh?
Yeah. STL trivia. I'm interested.
You want to do wakeskate trivia or STL trivia?
Let's start with STL.
I got two St. Louis ones because I wasn't sure if the first one was going to be too easy or not. So we'll do both.
Cool.
Who is the only president to have gone to the top of the Gateway Arch?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's not too easy, I guess, then.
I would say probably Obama, I guess. No.
Dwight Eisenhower. Presidents are not allowed to go to the top of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense, I guess.
And he did like a thing because he helped with construction of something in the area at the time. And
so when it was built, like, yeah, whatever.
60s
You know that
or some
the arch is as wide as it is tall?
I did not know that. But I knew that if it was off by 1/64th of an inch, it wouldn't match up at the top.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy.
And it sways like 15 inches, I think.
I didn't know for the longest time that you can go to the top of it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I took Ange up there when she came to St. Louis, and there's a video on YouTube somewhere. It's pretty cool. We did a helicopter tour. Sick.
I'm not a big fan of the helicopters.
It's my first one. It's
Spook
pretty
me. I wouldn't go on one of those.
What about a paramotor?
I would do that. My cousin does that. He's big into that stuff.
Nice.
Or not the paramotor. He does the Brian Grubb shit. Okay. The other St. Louis trivia. How many home runs did the St. Louis Cardinals team have in the 2022 MLB regular season?
22?
2022 regular.
Why 22?
I don't know, because it was what I came up on Google.
Oh, okay. How many home runs did the team have?
Yeah.
In 2022?
Yes.
Like, why not last year?
Last year was 2022.
That was 23.
Oh, is this the 24 season that's kicking off now?
What do you mean kicking off? We're in off season. Yeah.
Oh, we're in off season?
Baseball starts in March.
Oh, that's right.
April.
It's December now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't follow baseball.
When are you airing this?
Well, January. It's coming out January.
I don't know. Team home runs?
Total.
I don't know. Probably. God, I'm so bad with this stuff. Let's go with 150.
197.
Okay.
All right.
It's probably 150 this year.
Wakeskate trivia.
Oh God.
This is I don't know if this is a good one or not because I'm not, super wake skater, but in 2011, which wake skater had the cover of Transworld Business?
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Transworld Business? So that was
Yeah.
part of like Transworld Snow Wake and
It must have been their like business Forbes magazine type deal.
Okay, so 2011.
Yep.
Business wake skater.
We had talked about him on this podcast previously.
On tonight?
Tonight. His name has been mentioned.
2011 business.
Yep.
Well, there's only like a couple guys that come to mind when you put the word wake skating and business in the same sentence.
Yeah. I think it was a night shot. I don't know if that helps. You probably don't remember it, but
I definitely don't remember even the magazine.
me neither.
2011. I mean, it's got to be Grubb is the only one that, no.
Not Grubb. I think this guy's known for having a
Business.
mustache, maybe.
Oh, Aaron Reed?
No. Well, he has a mustache, but not that guy. One more guess.
2011. I don't know.
Nike guy, I think.
Ben?
Yep.
Ben.
Yeah.
For business. For the skate park thing?
Transworld Business.
For the skate park thing?
What do you mean skate park thing?
He makes skate parks. No.
That probably was what the article
I don't think he was doing that. Maybe he was doing that then.
You got a cover, but it was him doing like I don't know what it was.
So it wasn't for his business. It was just he was the cover on the magazine.
He was the cover on the magazine, but they probably did a piece. I'd
Yeah.
imagine if he was doing something like that back
Yeah,
then.
I'd like to
but-
read that article.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have the cover?
I have the photo. I can pull up the photo. I don't have
Transworld Business?
I do not have that copy of Transworld Business.
He's got a
here.
whole box down here of every like wake magazine ever.
Yeah, thanks Garrett Cortez for that. Super, super helpful.
Yeah.
All right, man. I mean, that's all I got.
All right. Let's see. Let's see if I give you some trivia. What's your favorite park in the U.S. first?
It's
Oh,
kind
I
of
know,
like
I know one you didn't ask that you normally ask people to.
well, what did I usually ask?
Favorite wakeboarder of all time. I know yours though.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite? I was hoping that I was gonna land on goat, but it didn't land on goat.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
gonna say wake skater, but
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna go wakeboarding. Well, we'll just wake as a whole. For me, it's Parks. Yeah, he's just so iconic to me, and I think that Raf's time I was into wake skating at that time, so I think I'm not saying he was a bad rider. He was phenomenal, obviously, but I just think the eyeballs that Parks has brought onto our sport and just the uniqueness of the things that he's done and just like his background, the dude can barefoot like a madman. He can barefoot behind an F1, like
Yeah.
whatever, a race car. And yeah, that dude's huge. He's iconic in not just our sport. And I don't think there's anybody else that you can really say that in our industry. And so he's the GOAT in my book.
okay, that's a totally fair answer.
Yeah.
I don't think I mean it's got a good argument to it. So, all right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Wake skater?
Yeah, wake skater.
For me, it's Grubb, I guess. You can't argue the 50 million. He was my hero as a child. So the greatest skilled wake skater to me is probably Ben Horan. His kickflip business, that flick is
buttery.
perfect. Andrew and Austin Pester, also great. And Nick Taylor.
Oh, you're just listing them off now.
No, those four for me, the Pesters, even the other brother too, and Nick and Ben, those guys have always been so good. And I just remember watching how smooth their riding was in their videos. And yeah, the flick though. I've been trained now by some of the boys on the skateboard stuff, and like he's got the truest skateboard kickflip on a wake skate.
It doesn't look like a wake skate kickflip. It
Yeah,
looks like a
it's
skateboard.
not kicking the
kickflip.
board down; he's flicking.
Yeah,
And you don't see that too often.
very true.
Pretty sick.
Definitely.
And then Drew got reposted by Tony Hawk with that kickflip.
That kickflip was sick, dude.
Dirty.
Didn't he? What he front through that, back through that, or something too? He did. He kickflipped
Yeah.
and he 3 did or something like that. So
Yeah, those guys are unreal, and I mean, those guys are probably, in my opinion, the most skilled with the like skateboard style to it. I
Yeah.
think like Reed's great. Reed's fantastic behind the boat and has all kinds of tricks at his spot. But like the true core skateboard style, can't deny Ben and Andrew what they've done in our sport.
100%,
So good.
definitely.
That's it.
That's it. I love it. All right. Well, thanks, Bobby, for coming on. Make sure to follow Bobby and follow the PWL this coming season and whatever events he might have his hands in.
You can ask to follow the spills now.
You can request if you want to.
Come out and ride the spills for real though. Like it is private, but hit me up on the gram and if
you're
coming
rolling through.
Yeah, if you're coming through, and actually we're on Skate B&B now.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, so I'll put that link in the bio. So if you want to stay,
it's pretty cool.
Stay there. So.
The guys from KC, he was super helpful. So I'm hoping maybe that can turn into some fun.
It definitely sounds like a lot of fun.
So we got the sick bunk bed situation in the basement, so it's built for people to come through and hang and ride in session. So
that's sick.
Yeah, come on through.
Yeah, I'll put that in the description.
You got to come through. And you and ZMT need to come session some spots in the Lou.
I'm down.
Yeah, come on.
I'm definitely down. All right, I love it. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to hit the Patreon, make sure to do that. Link is in the description.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, smash that like button. Smash the shit out of it. But don't smash it more than twice because then it'll unlike the video. But yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Hit them comments.
Hit the comments. Run the comments up. Talk some shit about Bobby. What's up with Bobby? Come on. Eat shit, Bobby. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. See you guys next time.
Peace.